Hey guys, and welcome to an epic clan war between Extreme Meme Team and Clan CB, which I believe stands for Crying Beastmen. I may be completely misinformed about that, but that is what I have been told. Either way, it's going to be an absolute blast. It is in the Clan War Cup, and these guys are a bit of a clash of titans here today, as both of them, spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the results of the previous rounds, they are all up on the channel. Cover your ears now for the next 10 seconds. Both these guys are indeed the winners of their first group games. So we've got two heavyweight clashes coming in. Whoever wins this should qualify basically instantly for the next round, and the last game won't be so stressful for them. The other two clans are Extreme Meme Team Clan number 2 as well as EC. So a load of tough players today, and boy oh boy do we have an absolute treat. It's going to be crazy. So this is Extreme Meme Team's first team. I think they're going under the name Extreme Meta Tryhards, and they are really gunning for this and trying their best here today, so it should be good fun. We've got a load of 1v1s, a 3v3 and two 2v2s, and we have so many good players on display today. So many good players. It's going to be a real good fun, but there is a big treat for me as well. In particular, I'm a massive fan of Harley Gnarly's Lizardman play. I did not know he was an Extreme Meme Team. I'm not sure if he's just joined for this tournament, but this is going to be an absolute joy to watch. But that shall be the second to last game, as we're going to be starting from the bottom here, and I believe it is going to be Ice Power with his favourite green skin forces up against the board of Bretonia, which is kind of funny because we actually played and I did a video against the board today, which was released a bit earlier on. Definitely feel free to go check that. It was released really early on, so YouTube doesn't tend to like that too much. But yeah, it was good fun. The board is a solid player, likewise is Ice Power. But before we do hop into this, there's only 9 games here. You can look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, there's meant to be 10 games. Unfortunately, CB couldn't make one of their 2v2 games, and they did eventually forfeit. So I don't know what happened there, or if they just couldn't make the time in the end, or players couldn't turn up. So unfortunately for them, and good news for XMT, they're actually going to start with a 2-0 advantage here today, as CB did concede that 2v2 game. Now, for those who haven't seen the previous streams, the way this works is there's a load of 1v1s, 3 2v2s normally, or there's going to be 2 today, and 1 3v3. Now, the points are distributed that 1v1s are worth 1 point each, 2v2s are worth 2 points, and a 3v3 is worth 3 points. There's a big emphasis today on those team games. Plenty of room for comebacks, plenty of room for big moments in here. I'm very excited to see how these guys did indeed fare. Now, we'll probably be taking a break after about 4 games in, just so I can grab some more water and make sure my throat doesn't explode. And all that good stuff. Apart from that, we're going to hop straight in. It is a Mr. Ice Power Total War with his greenskins. He claims to be a Dark Elf main, but I'm not so sure. I think it's greenskins all the way. Up against the board of Bretonia and his Lizardmen. Real fun matchup all round. I think it slightly favours Lizardmen, but, you know, that might be my old one bias coming in there. What's up, Nick? What's up, Rebane? Yo, where have you been, man? I've just been ill, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I have just been ill, so I haven't been able to stream for like a week and a half. It's been really frustrating because I haven't even really been able to make anywhere near as much content as I wanted to make, which is, you know, it's very frustrating. But hey, I'm back now. I'm still a little bit ill, but nowhere near as bad as I once was. What's up, Charix? How's it going, champ? Mr. Way, I believe we are seeing you in action today. James, just say patiently waiting. A fantastic song for one, but I'm assuming you mean in for the stream. And what's up, CJ? How's it going, champ? Hope you are all good today. Well, it's going to be Toothgrass Hill for our first map here. Greenskins, Dino Boys. It's always a good fun scrap. So let's pop this into slow-mo and have a quick little look at the builds. So for Mr. Ice Power, this is not on the Cav beta, by the way. This game, and probably tomorrow's Clan War, which we're going to do, the other 2 games from the group are not on the beta, they're on live, but from rounds going onwards, it shall indeed be on live, which is going to be interesting for me, because I haven't actually played on live yet, and I am playing in the next round. But anyway, for the force of the Greenskins, of course, we have a load of Skirmish Cav. We have Forest Goblins, Spider Rider Archers, and Morgrub's Mangy Marauders, dotted in some nice little vanguarded positions, scouting ahead of the main force. In the main battle line, we do have Gobbos as well as the 8-peak Looney, so rather cheap and cheerful all the way across along, actually. There's like a load of real just kind of small units. I mean, they've got 120 units in them, but they do go down rather quickly. We have some Orc Arrow Boys, 1, 2, and 3. They're going to be accompanying the Rusty Arrows here. We have 1 unit of Black Orcs, and then we have triple Orc Boar Chariots. So the restrictions on chariots, Orc Boars, Tuskor Chariots, Razorgore Chariots, has been lifted. You can now take as many, not as many as you want, but back up to the standard of banner rules, which I think is free for these. So we have 3 Orc Boar Chariots, fantastic at taking down Saurus Warriors and the like. And we actually have Wurzak today, no Grom, Ice Power, a man of class and culture, it would seem. He is going to be enemy coming in with the Bonewood Staff. He's coming in with Squiggly Beast, Gaze of Mork, Brainbuster, and Effigy of the Git. No for the Gork, but still, I love the pick of the Dancing Madman. For the forces of the Bold, who is leading my favourite Dino forces here, he does have a load of Chameleon Skinks. So a load of Chameleon Skinks dotted through the front line, backed up by a thick, meaty wall of Saurus Warriors, and we have plenty of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the front line, and then triple Saurus Warriors of Spears in the secondary battle formation. With the cohort of Sotek, we have a double Cold One Riders on this left-hand side, a couple of little skinkies guarding the flanks, but for the leadership core, we do indeed have Krokgar Footgar! Oh, hell yeah! We have a Footgar pick today with all the cool lords. He's coming in, of course, with Hand of the Gods, as well as, I believe this is the Sacred Spawning. There we go, it is Sacred Spawning. Hand of the Gods actually be very powerful up against Wurzag if he does indeed connect his shots. We also have a Skink Priest, a Beast, Manticore Summon, and Flock of Doom. So without further ado, let's get this battle underway. And yeah, I actually played the board yesterday and made a video on about it today when he was bringing the Lizardmen, although it was up against my Dowie forces. So I do know the kind of style approach he likes to take. We'll have to see if he mixes stuff up depending on the matchup. Now, Lizardmen certainly will be able to take the high ground here. Of course, Ice doesn't want to push up under really any circumstances. So he's simply going to kite around with his skirmish cavalry, make his opponent push forward, and try to drive the Lizardmen down off that high ground and into the waiting clutches of this massive archered corps. It looks like Wurzag is just moving back into the trees, trying to scout out if there is any Chameleon Skinks, Chameleon Stalkers, or other vanguarded troops just waiting behind. And that's some good play there. Just, want to make sure your back is covered, particularly when coming in with such a range-focused build. And trust me, greenskins are very range-focused indeed. Hashtag Reforge is forever tainted now. Don't use it unless being sarcastic. Oh no! Give Krokgar his spear, 100% Rebane. I do not know why he does not have his magical spear. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, Forest Goblin Spider Riders are being forced back now. So far, the skirmish has gone pretty good for the camos. Chameleon Skinks are a relatively solid counter-skirmishing tool. They're not the quickest to get around the flanks as fast as, Glade Riders and Spider Riders and the like, but they can do a really good job when need be. It looks like the Greenskins are going to push forward a little bit, with the Orc Boar Chariots starting to align themselves in the front line, getting ready to pounce where possible. And in the back, yeah, just Forest Goblin Spider Riders wasting their ammunition to Chameleon Skinks, who would do far more better damage back onto the Greenskin folk. A little bit of a stalemate right now. A little bit of a standoff here. The Greenskins are unfortunately going to be forced to move up the hill at the moment at this rate. And they decide to fall back and just kind of kite around at the moment with their skirmish cav. It does need to get moving. And it looks like they are now starting to move into position once again to rain fire down upon the enemy. The Lizardmen look like they want to take, the initiative, the front foot, and are starting to push forward a little bit more aggressively now. Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers are just slowly peppering shots in to the Saurus Warriors, where Chameleon Skinks can obviously bounce over here and try to fend back the Spider Riders, who are doing an okay job, but honestly are kind of being counter-skirmished at the moment, and once again receive a nasty volley to the back of the dome and are pushed backwards. Morgoth's Magi Marauders are unleashing hell upon the Saurus Warriors on this flank. They do have decent armor piercing, so they should be able to pierce the thick hides of the Saurus Warriors. Bronze Shield and 60 armor, though, is certainly no joke. In the back, we have Forest Goblin Spider Riders bouncing at 2 and 4, trying to kite backwards once more and avoid the damage of the camos, but it's not gone too well so far. The Gobos are going to start to advance. The 8 Pigloons are leading the battle line, it would seem. And the Orc Boars are waiting just in the wings, ready to activate as soon as the Saurus do come down off this high ground. Chameleon Skinks still going to be repositioning, trying to move out and push the enemy away in all different positions here. Morgoth's Magi Marauders are unleashing a little bit of pepper and fire onto the Saurus Warriors, but honestly nothing too much has been done yet. Nothing too decisive, still waiting for the real battle to get underway. What's up, Grombrindle? Hope you're doing all good today, champ. Good to see you here as always. Morgoth's Magi Marauders are just, vibing, chilling. Going to be looking to float around behind the enemy if possible. Chameleon Skinks, though, can do some nice counter-skirmish, as we've seen already. And the Saurus Warriors are simply quite happy to sit there and absorb damage at the moment and allow the Chameleons to push away the enemy on the flanks. Wurzag could come in, do some little brain busters. We do have a giant ritual hag for support as well. I believe this is going to be Soul Blight. It's what would make most sense to me, yeah. So you have Soul Blight, learn that armor by 30. It means your missile pressure can really do some lovely work. Now, the Rusty Arrows have finally pushed up, as have the Orc Arrow Boys now. So that is going to kind of force the Lizardman in hand right now. And he's going to have to start getting aggressive. I mean, he will grind through the goblins very easily. The big problem here is the Orc Chariots, who are comfortably going to run over an infinite amount of Saurus if micro managed effectively. And Ice Power has some really fantastic micro, so I'm sure he will do just that. Spears are going to counter-charge. He does have to look out. There's a lot of Cold One Riders nearby, and if they're able to pin in the Orc Boar Chariots, they will drag them down very, very quickly. Swords on the front line are beating back Gobos, as would be expected. A load are bunching up, though, which is really bad right now. These guys need to force their way through if at all possible. And in comes the big fat Soul Blight. Not only does it lower armor piercing and weapon damage, it's also lowering the armor of all of these units and allowing the Orc Arrow Boys to let loose their arrows of war and sing gloriously. Orc Boar Chariots are pushing in now onto all the Chameleons, which is a good use of their time. Kroggar's trying to counterpunch, but he is on foot today. No Horned One, no Cold One, though he does connect with the Orc Boar Chariots. They need to be a little bit careful here. He will devastate these guys if they sit too long in this fight. There's a lot of Chameleon Skinks as well to give them parting shots, and it seems like one of the Orc Boar Chariots has already exploded and maybe wavering and starting to break, though we do get a lovely effigy of the Git coming down on the Common Riders to try to pin them in place. In the main front line, Gobos are doing not as bad as I initially thought they were going to do, mainly due to all the pressure from the Skirmish Cav and the Orc Boar Chariot. War has gone down now. The Cohort of Sotik, a very sticky unit, are trying to push in onto the Black Orcs. We're going to probably have to disengage and start to shut down some of these Orc Arrow Boys. Nice little fight over on the right-hand side. It looks like the Lizmen did just about come out on top. Orc Chariots are being swept aside now. This one has indeed been broken. However, there is a big brain buster going down on the Saw of Spears, doing some nice work, and the Forest Goblin Spider Riders and Morgul's Mangy Marauders are just peppering and annoying their opponent from afar. Source Warriors are able to shut down the Orc Arrow Boys. Wozak wants a scrap, which is, you know, not bad for a short duration, particularly if he has support, but if he gets isolated like this, he has okay stats, but nothing too fantastic, particularly with only 25 melee defense. More chariots are broken here and going down. Looks like the Chameleon Skinks are doing a pretty good job peppering them away. Ferromanticore has been summoned, and that is pushing the balance of power still actually slightly in favour of the Greenskins. He needs to get moving with this Manticore and probably snipe out Wurzag would be the best use of his time. Sword of Spears trying to poke down the Giant Roadshaw Hag, but unfortunately they themselves look like they are broken beasts. The Skirmish Cav still has a ton of ammunition being used here to run down Saurus Warriors, which is certainly a good idea. Common Riders are out of control and out of this world, it would seem right now. They are hunted down to Rusty Arrows, doing some decent damage, but the Goblin Big Boss is nearby to support, and a big fat Brainbuster goes down on Chameleon Skinks, doing some really, really lovely damage. It looks like the Lizman player did have the same mind of thinking as I had here. He's going after Wurzag with that Ferromanticore, who has been slowed and unfortunately was already getting near the point where he would be dissipated here. Riots broke out on Duck's Discord. Oh no! Oh no. Hope you're well. Nice that you feel better, Ducky. Thank you, man. I do feel a lot better. Looks like you're a bit ill for Poland, man. Hopefully you're all good, dude. Hopefully you do a swift recovery, man. So it looks like so far Wurzag is going to come in with a lovely shot into the road. Kroggar. Kroggar doesn't really care, to be honest, about petty greenskin magic, though. He tanks out like an absolute champ and is now going to charge into the flank of the Black Orcs. And there's some much needed support right now. The Cohort of Sotek are starting to get whittled down. Sword of Spears as well are struggling. Chameleon Skink presence is still really lovely right now. Unfortunately, though, for him, there's a lot of Greenskin Skirmish Cavalry. And Greenskin Skirmish Cavalry will beat Chameleon Skinks when they get into that hand-to-hand combat. Orc Chariots are still alive as well. Goblin Big Boss is trying to save the Rusty Arrows right now, but good pressure with the Common Riders, consistently forcing back the Rusty Arrows, looking to shut them down. Lovely use of Brainbuster once more. I've been pretty impressed with Wurzag today, and Ice Power's use of him. Up to 50 kills so far, and 1.2k damage value. He comes with another shot at Kroggar, but Kroggar just shrugs it off, kind of, you know, does that whole thing where you use the hand of the gods to brush his shoulder, and like, it's nothing but a thing. Black Orcs do unfortunately break here. That's bad news for the Greenskins. They were kind of one of their anchor points in the middle of the battlefield. But the Chameleon Skinks starting to rain some fire down now on the Orc Boar Chariots. Not a bad idea whatsoever. They're relatively tanky with their 80 armor against blow darts, but still, they don't have that much health left in the later parts of the game here. Orc Arrow Boys do manage to rally. Wurzag can simply not duel Kroggar in a one-on-one situation, so Ice needs to ensure he wins on every other aspect of the battlefield, and it looks like that's just what he's doing. Goblin Big Boss can now force off the Cold One Riders. We have Orc Arrow Boys returning. The Rusty Arrows have come back, and he's got all of his range units, which is going to be quite key here to taking down the last kind of sliver of Lizardmen resistance. Big old fat Brainbuster goes down on the Chameleon Skinks, doing some really nice work once again. Orc Boar Chariots are charging in alongside the Giant Roadshaw Hag here. Wurzag up to 101 kills. I love the pick here. Yet another magic missile goes into Kroggar, and yet again Kroggar laughs at the puny magic of the Greenskins and pushes on once more. Unfortunately, he won't be laughing so much at the huge amount of arrows that are going to be swinging his way. Army losses is getting very close. There still is the leadership core here with the Skink Priest of Beast as well as Kroggar. I don't know if we have one Feral Manticore left, and I haven't seen a single Hand of the Gods used yet. If he can pop one onto Wurzag and then follow it up with a Manticore, perhaps the game can be saved. But at the moment, Ice Power, I think, does look pretty dominant in this position. Orc Arrowboys rain shots in from afar, and in comes the effigy of the Git. This is where Krogar needs to shoot that Hand of the Gods into Wurzag, but I don't know if he still has it in him. He's kind of just vibing and standing still right now, but that's not really his fault. He has been pinned in place. Morgul's Magi Marauders, as well as Forest Goblin Spider Warriors, all unleashing shots. Another gaze of Mork does come in on Krogar, who returns with a Hand of the Gods, doing far more damage in retaliation. But Cold-Blooded goes down on him. I think it may be a little bit too little too late. Lovely use there of the slow once again from the Giant Mature Hag. It is going to slow down Krogar, and although a lot of the ammo has started to wane pretty thin for the Skirmish Cavalry, we still have Orc Arrowboys. We have this unit of Orc Arrowboys. The Rusty Arrows were somewhere. Looks like they shall be returning to the field, and there's simply no way the Dino Boys can fight back. So well played there to Ice Power, well played as well to the board of Bretonia, but Extreme Meme Team shall be taking that point in our first game here today, though of course there was a concede in the first 2v2, so it is now 3-0 to XMT. So let's update the scoreboard, and then we'll go through all of the damage dealt, damage value, and all the kills and all that good stuff. So let's pop it up. XMT, 3-0 up so far, doing really well. And let's go through this. But once again, hi. Yeah, hopefully you do all good for Poland. I'm just going to very quickly check my Discord. You said a riot's broken out? Oh, it's the ducks have flown south. Yeah, my duck bot stopped working. I need to speak to Poison Ducky about that because he was the one who set it up in the first place. It's probably just the duck bot itself has unfortunately gone down at the moment. Anyway, for the forces of the Greenies, Mr. Wurzag, 1,870 damage value. Very impressive stuff. 12k damage down. Love the use of just cycling those spells. Gaze of Mork, Brainbuster. Gaze of Mork, Brainbuster over and over again to drag down the enemy infantry. Now, I do think Massasaurus is quite popular here, so I like this pick over Grom because of course, his ability to use all those spells can be quite nice. Decent work with the other heroes, I mean, not that much damage value on them. The Gobos as well kind of got decapitated, but that's what they're here for. That's what Goblins are born for, it's just kind of born to die. 8 Pigloons are okay, 500 damage value, 800 on the Black Orcs. The infantry wasn't what won the fight though. The Orc Boys did a decent job, 400 damage value, 560, 400, 786 on the Rusty Arrows for damage value. But again, they were a good presence and did a lot of good early damage. So the board had some really nice press-in tactics and managed to hop onto them relatively quickly. But these Orc board chariots messed up so much of the Lizardmen formation. 660 damage value, 830 and 387, but still having decent models at the end of the day. And of course, the Skirmish Cav always does good for greenskins. 755 damage value, 207 and 886 on the Morgrub's Mangy Marauders. As for Mr. DeBald of Bretonia, put up a decent showing here. 900 damage value on Krogar, 156 on the Skink Priest, and Saurus across the board did okay. I mean, some of them fared pretty poorly, like 200 damage value. Ours got about 800. 860 on the Cohort of Sotek. Chameleon Skinks did some nice early counter-skirmishing, but weren't really able to capitalise on that momentum. The Cold One Riders as well were trying to be used to pin in, but they were kind of holding together a little bit too much, and they couldn't really get on top of the key targets. But well played to both the champs, to Mr. Ice Power and Mr. DeBald of Bretonia, but we shall be moving on soon to Lord Lever of Clan CB, up against a big Yoshi, aka Mr. Flying Taco. Greenskins versus Beastmen. This should be a good fun scrap. What's up, Red Wish? How's it going? No one is as mighty as Steve the Steam Tank. Joss, you make some rather valid points. Some rather valid points, I must admit. Hope you're doing all good today. Hope everyone is enjoying the stream so far. So we build up a little bit of momentum here and hop directly into game 2. So have a little bit of a drink as we do load in. And it shall be XMT's Flying Taco on the Beastmen and Lord Lever of CB on the Greenies. So we've already seen the Greenskins, but luckily this is a second game with the Green Boys, and we have yet again no Grom the Paunch. We'll have to view that in just a second. But for the forces of the Beastmen today, on the left-hand side, we do indeed have double Centigores on the left. We have a couple of units of Chaos Warhounds in the front, and some more Centigores on that far right-hand side. Making up the main battle line is Ungor Spearherds and Goreherds. These guys are ravenous, probably a little bit hungover, or maybe even still a bit drunk, a bit rowdy, and ready to bring battle to the Green Tide. Up in the skies, we have double Feral Manticore. We do have a Brave Shaman of Beast down on the low ground with Flock of Doom and Manticore summon. We have Torx the Brass Bull, the mightiest of all Minotaurs. His name is feared in the new and old world alike. He's going to be coming in with the simple brass body and the Blood Creed. We do have a couple of chariots. It looks like a double Tuskor chariot on this right-hand side, and that is going to be it. You can actually take more than double Tuskors now. Just a heads up for those who are kind of, not following the tournament scene as much. For the forces of the Greenies, we themselves have some chariots, though this time it is the far more fun and thematic Goblin Wolf chariots, who are kind of these mini skirmishers. We have a load of Orc Boys, dotted all away the long, including, of course, the 8 Picaloons as is standard. More Goblin Wolf chariots on the far side with Death Creepers and some Goblin Wolf Riders for support. Orc Biggins and Black Orcs make up the secondary battle line with some more Goblin Wolf Riders. But oh yes, we have not the Biggin, we have Da Biggin, and look at him go, look how happy he is. Look at this little mask he's made just for this special occasion as he goes for the long range Kobe. Regiment Renown Rogue Idol can do some really nice damage all round. He is supported by 1 unit of Goblin Archers, Skarsnik down on the ground, which is pretty awesome. As, Skarsnik is a pretty useful combatant, actually. I think the Greenskins have quite a few good Legendary Lords. I actually like Azag as well, like Wurzag, Azag, Skarsnik, they're all pretty solid. I wish we could get Grimgor in here as well. But unfortunately, they just get overshadowed by Grom. With a Night Goblin Shaman, coming in with Curse of the Bad Moon. Actually very good up against the lightly armoured Beastmen. Certainly an underrated spell. Vindictive Glare and Itchy Nuisance. But without further ado, let's get this battle underway. XMT, yes, Loopy. There's 2 XMT teams. There's Extreme Meta Tryhards, which you're watching now, and then there's the Extreme Meme team. They're both obviously from Clan XMT, and this is the one who has got a victory already in its last game, and they're up against CB today, who also get a victory in their last group game. So it's kind of a battle of the Titans today. XMT take a dominant early lead because unfortunately CB had to drop out one of the 2v2s and gift 2 points to Extreme Meme team, and they also lost the first game here today. Because Warhounds were trying to shut down the Goblin Wolf chariots. Luckily, though, Orc Boys were there to support and actually managed to pin in the chariots for now, which is some good micro here by the green-skin player. The Biggin is coping some rocks in. He's only up to 7 kills, though, so hasn't done too much. Goblin Archers are starting to rain some shots in and do some relatively solid damage there. The little goblin did miscast, unfortunately, and has taken a bit of a punishment. Torx the Brass Bull is well and truly a gigantic raging cow amongst the pigeons, although he actually decides to fall back there, so does a bit of hit and run on the Orc Boys before falling back once again. With a Feral Manticore summon on the field, that means it is the 3rd Manticore currently around, and it's going to jump Skarsnik. Now, Skarsnik will beat a Manticore. He has anti-large, but hey, damage is damage at the end of the day, and he is just a squishy gobbo. Orc Boys are being kind of supported right now by Itchy Nuisance, which is good use of that spell. Flock of Doom, though, catches a load of this force, and in comes those Tuskor chariots just to help clear out the infantry and leave the Biggin isolated if that's what you really want to do. Fanatics are swinging down the line on the Gore Herds. An okay cast, but honestly, it would have been better used down this side. And looks like those Manticores have now landed on top of the Goblin Archers, looking to shut them down for good. Beastmen are really ruling the roost on the skirmish force right now. Centaurs are running down Goblin Wolf chariots. The Goblin Wolf Riders are all over the place, and a lovely sandwich has formed as the Orc Biggins are surrounded by lesser foes, but many a lesser foe, and that's kind of the problem for them. Ungors and Gors should be able to cleave apart the Orc Biggins, or at least do a massive amount of damage. The Curse of the Bad Moon did go down. It's going to be roasting some Gore Herds, which is always good to see. You can see there's massive HP damage on lightly armoured targets. Flock of Doom comes down, but the Tuskor Chariots, as well as the Manticores, are trying to goon out Skarsnik right now. Torx the Brass Bull is here to prove, through sheer strength of will and power, who is the true champ here. And he's got a big old axe to the back of Skarsnik's face there. The Biggin is trying to support, but he's a little bit janky, unfortunately, when trying to move through units. Skarsnik gets forced back, and I think this is going to be a really, really quick, dominant victory by Flying Taco here. He has all of the Greenskin forces on the run, so we still have the Biggin fighting strong, but apart from that, Orc Biggin's actually beating back the Gore Herds and Ungors, despite that surround, although good play by Flying Taco, clearing up a lot of troops with Centaurs and Chaos Warhounds. It's always good to see players use that skirmish play successfully. We do have a Flock of Doom coming down, which is going to capture not too much, to be honest. The Biggin is up to 37 kills, but unfortunately the Black Orcs shatter, and I think army loss is actually going to kick in, even with the Biggin basically at, not quite full health, but 2/3 health right here. Of course, the Unbreakable Night Goblins won't go down without a scrap. They themselves are up to an impressive 116 kills. Not bad whatsoever. Unfortunately, Goblin Wolf Chariots are being chased down by the Warhounds, proving once and for all that dogs are better than wolves, which does break my little wolf heart as well. Manticore doing some lovely cycle charging, and Flying Taco knows how to see out a game. And my god, that was a bit of a steamroll, that one. Well played to both the lads. I mean, I can tell you from experience, Flying Taco can run over anyone on his day, and yeah, he did that today. He really did some good work there and really slaughtered his opponent. Well played to Lord Lever though, man. Honestly, it is no kind of no shame getting beaten by Flying Taco. He is really truly a fantastic player, and I love the build. I mean, Skarsnik, 400 damage values, isn't that great? After getting jumped, I don't know what units were really going to have performed here. 800 value on 8 peak loons isn't terrible. 700 on this unit of big guns, but yeah, apart from that, it really was a bit of a rout, unfortunately. The big gun, 860 damage value. As for Mr. Flying Taco, Torx the Brass Ball, 777. He got his 7s and 6s mixed up, unfortunately. But hey, did a good job nonetheless. Manticores were used to pretty good effectiveness, just a cycle charge. Flock of Dooms were kind of placed not super poorly. I mean, they caught a lot of units, and in the end game, they're kind of just being chucked at the Rogue Idol. So, hence why there's basically very little damage value on the Bray Shaman itself. The Gore Herd did a decent job. 600 damage value, 700, 650. Big numbers as well on those kills. 83, 86, 70, helping clear out the chaff of the enemy. Lovely Centaur play, lovely Chariot play, and lovely Warhound play, just to really wrap up the wings of this battle, clear up routing units, and then it was simply a matter of surrounding what remained of Lord Lever's army. Well played there to both these champs, and that is going to be yet another point to the Extreme Meme team, getting some good momentum behind them. Now, there is 15 points, I believe, on up for grabs today, and for example, if CB won't win the 3v3 here, they will instantly be right back into the game. So, you know, good work there by both players, but Extreme Meme team take a dominant lead here in the matchup. And the next game shall be a 2v2 between Mr. Flying Taco once again and Nomru taking on Lunacy and Hydra Dominatus. I believe I played Hydra Dominatus not too long ago, so should be a good fun fight. Should be a good fun fight. That giant raging cow just ran away. How the mighty have fallen. True. True, true, true. Yeah, I believe Wei is representing the second XMT team. Yes. What's up, J Phoenix? Howdy, Duck. Howdy, J Phoenix. How are you today? Hope you're all good. Let's have a little sip of my drink here. Yes, for those who don't know, my voice is currently recovering. I was rather ill, and I can still feel it going already now, so we will be taking breaks in between games just to recover a little bit with our voice. But there we go. There. Oh, Duros, I just saw what you posted in the Discord. If you have that replay, man, feel free to send it to me, as that looked like a pretty awesome game. But up next shall be the 2v2, so let's hop in here and yeah, enjoy the carnage of Mr. Flying Taco, representing the Warriors of Chaos with his Wood Elf allies, up against Lunacy, Wood Elves v Bretonnia. So we have a little bit of a Wood Elf civil war. We have the evil forces who have sided with the Warriors of Chaos. I'm sure in their opinion, the Bretonians are evil, but the Bretonians will be supporting Lunacy's Wood Elves. We actually saw Lunacy play in the last clan war, I believe in a 1v1, a 2v2, and a 3v3. So it looks like he has really taken a lead in this clan war for his clan, which is good to see. So let's hop in here, pop it into slow-mo, and very quickly go through the builds. I put Steve in Discord. I just saw Steve. He looks very badass indeed. For the forces of XMT here, and of the Warriors of Chaos, we have a load of Chaos Marauders and Chaos Warriors dotted through the front line. Mix them with Mirror Guard. It's always cool to see mass Chaos Warriors. I don't know why. I never see this. It's always Marauders. So excited to see how these guys perform today. They're pretty rock and roll, I should say, rather than rock and roll. But, you know, they kind of get overshadowed by Chosen being more badass than them. But at the end of the day, Chaos Warriors need a little bit of love as well. We have Chaos Marauders with Great Weapons guarding the flanks, and Chaos Warriors with Halberds guarding the rear and flanks. We've got some more Chaos Marauders on this side. It seems like the Wood Elves are going the majority range. We have a load of Glade Guard, so Glade Guard, even more Glade Guard, a mixture of basic and Starfire Shafts and Hagbane Tips, in fact. We have a Double Way Stalker and an Ancient Treeman with Earthblood leading the battle line. Sigvald shall be the beautiful man, the myth, the legend, leading the forces of Chaos. And then we have some cavalry in the form of Glade Riders, with a Chaos Sorcerer Metal as well, with Final Transmutation. Where's the rest? What is going on? I don't know what these Eternal Guard are up to, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Eternal Guard. Just chilling on the side. The ultimate tactical reserve right here. They don't want to get involved in any of this right now. For the forces of good, I should say, and Clan CB, because they are, of course, with the Bretonnians today, we have the Sisters of Twilight, one of the most beautiful models in the entire game. They're very cool as they swirl around the battlefield, actually on their dragon, which isn't something you see terribly often, coming in with the Eagle Quiver, and should be able to do some good work. Bretonnians, of course, have brought a load of filthy peasant mobs to the battlefield. They have summoned the Fjords to fight alongside the Wood Elves. We have some spearmen at arms guarding the flanks, at least on this right-hand side. And then it's a bucket ton of cavalry. We have Question Knights, Knights of the Realm, a field trebuchet, of course, double paladin, and Fey Enchantress, which I haven't seen work anywhere near as well in recent times. I don't know if Bretonnian players need to mix it up a little bit, but I've seen so many people counter this now. I think it's become a little bit stale for Bretonnians, but still, it is very powerful nonetheless. We have Knights of the Realm and more Quest Knights on this right-hand flank, and another field trebuchet. For the forces of the Wood Elves, apart from the Sister Twilight in the skies, we have a ton of Eternal Guard dotted all the way along, and a load of Glade Guard. Some of them are Hagbane Tips, some are Starfire Shafts, and some are basic, much like their counterparts on the side there of XMT. We have a Branch Wraith coming with Pendulum and the Wyvern, and that's going to be it. I do wonder if these Eternal Guard are actually going to fight today, or if they're, simply going to wait in tactical reserve, see how the battle goes, and decide if they want to join late or not. What's up, Catch Your Breath? How's it going, champ? Hope you're all good. That's a massive tactical reserve, 100%. 100%. I'm very confused at why they've been left there. But hey, at the end of the day, it might be some kind of tactic that we're not, accustomed to the great thinking here of the Wood Elves. We don't know why. Oh my god. Oh my god. Faye just got slapped by Glade Guard. That was insane. So much damage. There is the double Waystalk. They may have used their Arrows of Kernos on her as well. And she's instantly had to waste some magic on an Earthblood, just healing herself up, which isn't good news for her, of course. The Paladins are falling back as well. Big shots going down on the Ancient Tree Man. Luckily, though, he is super tanky and simply can absorb a lot of that damage and heal himself up in the later stages of the game. The Glade Guard of Hagbane Tips are counter-skirmishing, or not counter-skirmishing, but kind of keeping the Knights at arm's length away, just push them away, knowing that they are supported by the Chaos Warriors. Now, this is a really tough build to make work. You have to be with your opponent in voice chat, and the synergy has to be perfect. It has to be so good, because the Chaos is the only units at the moment who can really protect the back line, and that's where a lot of the punch of this build comes in. Eternal Guard are now on the warpath. They're going to start marching back to the battlefield, it would seem. They have finally been remembered. Mirror Guard, shield raised high, unfortunately are pushing through. This is a horrible fight they have to take up. They're pushing slightly uphill into Bowfire, and the Eternal Guard, seriously are no joke. Everyone kind of thinks they're this weak unit because they're some of the cheapest infantry the Wood Elves can get. They can hold the line for a real solid time. Fey Enchantress and the Paladins do decide to move in there. Lovely breath attack is used down the line on the Mirror Guard. There's a bucket ton of friendly fire, oh my god. But, killed some enemies as well, I suppose, so it's probably worth it there. Chaos Warriors are continuing to push forwards, as are the Marauders. The backline is still relatively safe. We've got a lot of Halberds available, though some Knights of the Realm are starting to force their way in. Another unit got dumpstered. It looks like they charged into the Chaos Marauders with great weapons. Halberds were there to support, Glade Guard were there to counterfire, and that unit is in fact shattered. They need to move their forces over onto this second one. Chalice of Potions does come down. It looks like the Chaos Marauders are suffering quite badly right now. Chaos Warriors, though, doing fine in the front line. I mean, they're struggling a little bit. Eternal Guard actually get hit by Favour of the Fae, giving them 66 melee attack. Those guys are roided up right now. One Paladin shatters, and it looks like the second does as well. Trying to fight Sigvald is never a good idea, particularly when supported by an Ancient Tree Man. Things that are going well here, though, for Clan CB. The Glade Guard are certainly winning their engagements. A lot of the Glade Guard are starting to be forced off here for XMT, and now there are Question Knights reaving through the back lines, taking away the missile damage that the Wood Elves can bring, and it's such an important element to this build. This is a little bit of a disaster. If only those Eternal Guard were actually here to protect, it'd be so much harder to break in to the back line. For CB, they have problems of their own. Prince Sigvald has shattered both Paladins right now, and a lot of their Knights are currently done for. Marauders are getting super aggressive, trying their best to hunt down the Fey Enchantress, but hey, if you can't get her, you can still shut down all of these Glade Guard. There are, though, Knights of the Realm starting to return. Ancient Tree Man receives a nasty charge from Fey Enchantress, but they need to be so careful with her. If she takes one or two too many big hits from the Tree Man or Sigvald, it could be GG's game over. The Glade Guard on the right-hand flank here for the Extreme Meme team are doing a really decent job. They still have decent ammunition and are starting to wrap around this flank. And it looks like their backline has now been recovered once again because of the Eternal Guard presence. The Tactical Reserve are now starting to push forward. But is it too little too late? Did they lose too much of their range kind of firepower here, because as you can see, CB still has their trebuchets active, still has a lot of Glade Guards all the way along, and the Ancient Tree Man is getting eviscerated. A pincushion for the Wood Elves to practice against. And yeah, he's not having a good time whatsoever. He probably is just going to straight up die here. Yeah, down he goes. Those the Starfire Shafts doing some really good work there. They do, of course, bring fire damage to the battlefield. Speaking of character sniper, though, the Fey Enchantress herself is getting danger low, yet another Earthblood does have to get popped on her. There are some Knights of Realm trying to get into the back here to shut down the Glade Guard, but they take so much damage on the approach, and the Chaos start to swarm all over them. Eternal Guard are near. I'd like to see them spread out now and start chasing down all the enemy range forces themselves. And the Sisters of Twilight are getting focused down rather lovely here by the Waystalkers, who kind of struggle to hit such a slow and ponderous beast like the Dragon. Second potion is going to come down on these Chaos Warriors of Halberds, and it looks like it is not dodged there by the Chaos player. Beautiful cast by the Fey Enchantress. She's really managed to recover from her early struggles and nearly getting sniped out straight away. Sister Twilight do manage to dodge those shots though, so maybe these Waystalkers are working for the enemy. Glade Guard continue to pour on that fire now as Eternal Guard fight Eternal Guard in an eternal battle of the wet noodles. Prince Sigvald is still very healthy, and that's a big problem here for CB, but a lot of the Chaos Forces are starting to break. The Glade Guard of CB are being forced back here by the Glade Guard of XMT, so many Glade Guard on the field. They should probably switch their targets to the Fey Enchantress now, go for a little bit of a cheeky snipe tactic. Very close game. Glade Riders are being forced back. They want to drive forward and hunt down the Glade Guard and the Field Trebuchet, but they cannot because the Sisters of Twilight are so close. So rotating the build round and slamming into this right-hand flank is probably the only way to go. Protect the range elements you have and drive forward with Prince Sigvald, leading kind of the stragglers and beat-up units of the Infantry Corps. Once again, Fey Enchantress has to pop Earthblood on herself. She is very near her healing cap at this point as she falls back from the mighty Prince Sigvald himself. Eternal Guard are still relatively healthy, and the ammunition is starting to dwindle just a little bit. There's enough to go around, like kind of like 6 volleys, 5 volleys, we're in about that middle part ballpark. The Sister Twilight going to dive down onto Eternal Guard. I like this quite a bit. Use them aggressively. They're on a freaking dragon, and if you don't bring them on the Eagle, you have to go into combat. If you bring on the Eagle, you don't necessarily need to go into combat. They're still decent melee combatants, but to get your value back, you have to go into combat with the big dragon and use those breath attacks wisely. And it's been some good play by Lunacy so far, up to 86 kills on the Sisters of Twilight, and remember, they still have all that conjoined destiny in the back if they need it. Glade Riders are going to slam forward into the Spearman Arms, looking to save the Eternal Guard, and they do manage to do just that. Bowfire is currently being traded between the Glade Guard as they range shots in. Field Trebuchets, how much ammo have you got left? 7 on this Field Trebuchet. Is the second one even alive? It is completely unharassed at the moment, though that may not be the case for long as Glade Riders do start to poke and push their way through. I really don't know who's going to win this one. It's a very close game. Of course, having Ancient Tree Man go down as it is a really bad news for XMT, because the Sisters plus Fey Enchantress are still a lot of leadership left on the field. However, I've seen Prince Sigvald fight off more than his fair share of kind of angry ladies here. Glade Guard for XMT are running really low on ammo, trying to bait out some shots, it would seem. A few volleys on this unit, but they do, of course, have less models. Waystalker's going to continue to push up and try to snipe out the Sisters of Twilight. Might not be the worst idea going after the Fey Enchantress as well, due to the fact that she's at a healing cap now, and it doesn't have Conjoined Destiny or anything like that. No more shots do come in. Again, it is a fight of the will of archers, and the Sisters of Twilight taking quite a bit of damage. Maybe want to actually bait out and take enough damage that they get their Conjoined Destiny nice and popped up. Prince Sigvald is trotting over to help protect the Waystalkers, just in case the Sisters of Twilight considered going in there for an assassination attempt. The Glade Guard are just vibing for now. Looks like they're saving the ammunition, trying to slowly drag down the Sisters, who are down to 800 HP, but this is the big problem. They've got Conjoined Destiny, but they may go down here, and it looks like they were saving a final transmutation in the back pocket just for this moment, and the Sisters of Twilight, just like that, are dead, even in the odds, back in favour again of kind of the middle ground. Both these guys have lost command, and with all of this ammunition being dwindled and starting to wall down, what is actually left on the battlefield to kill Prince Sigvald? That is the big problem. It looks like the Dreaded Tactical Reserve may have been a stroke of genius here, although I think if they were in the fight to start with, it would be really good for XMT right now. Instead, it's kind of quite even. Fey Enchantress does charge in. She's brilliant in these late stages of the game, draining and wounding those real weakened units. And the Fey Enchantress is up to 51 kills right now. Actually breaks 3 units, takes a load of volleys to the face, but she still doth live. And it's getting pretty close, Balance power is still basically dead even at the moment. Chaos Sorcerer is starting to dwindle, and almost all of a sudden the XMT force just collapses. It collapses on all sides. Prince Sigvald needs to stand firm with his Waystalker allies, who are actually starting to waver just by the presence of the enemy, I suppose. I'm really surprised that these guys are kind of wavering so easily right now. He's taking like no damage. What's gone badly for him? Faster and stronger enemies nearby. Lord dead. Oh, I suppose the Lord die and stuff also doesn't really help. Chaos Sorcerer breaks. The Waystalkers break. Very surprised that this entire army just routing like this. But it looks like it is just Prince Sigvald versus the world. Maybe he can win it. Maybe. There's a lot of troops to carve through here. There is a lot of troops, but he's a real tough customer all round, and there's no range to drag him down anymore. He does charge in up against the Glade Guard, looks to swat a few of them aside. There is still 24 Knights of the Realm, and they're no joke whatsoever. However, every time they charge in, if Sigvald can get 1 or 2 hits in, he should be able to drag down all those with each swing of his rapier there, and do some really good work. Waystalker does break though, and it looks like the plan of CB at this moment, which I 100% agree with, is just chase off all these routing units. Chase them all off, give no support to Sigvald, and hope that army losses can break him. And it looks like, yeah, the Chaos Sorcerer metal is gone. A load of units have shattered as well for CB. Trebuchets are now out of ammunition as well, so it's going to be Siggy against the world. This is going to be a pretty crazy scrap, guys. Who's your money on? Siggy is the tankiest lord in the game. He is very tanky. He is very tanky. Siggy needs to stop dancing and getting in a fight. He can't just about solo an army. Man, he needs to. He needs to, for sure. Poor Treebid. Yeah, Treebid unfortunately did bite the bullet there. So, Prince Sigvald does, of course, manage to break off some troops. Peasants are running from him, though they are also forcing off the Waystalkers, because I really can't believe it is just Sigvald against the world right now. And Balance Power. I want my, like, webcam in the way. Yeah, Balance Power is still, like, full even, despite the fact it's just Prince Sigvald. That is wild. Though when a lot of these troops get broken off, that Balance Power will change quite a bit. Waystalker's alive. That's actually really good news, because the Knights of Realm have to commit to a fight now. They can't simply dance around, otherwise the Waystalker will start picking them off at range. I think we're going to fast forward from this point, because it's literally just Sigvald against the world. And we'll see how he fares. He's trying his little hardest. He's up against Trebuchet crews right now, which I guess can dwindle him down a little bit. I'd probably keep him to the sides, because they're actually probably a decent amount of Balance Power, though they don't have any ammunition left, so maybe it's not that big a deal. And they both do indeed shatter there, and it is now just CB's just, chasing off all those forces. We have some Eternal Guard have rallied, but this is a really good play by Bretonnians. Oh, maybe not. I thought he was going to come over here and just break these units. It looks like he's more focused on the Waystalker, but just stopping any help coming to Prince Sigvald certainly it can be the way forward. And it looks like Balance Power has now finally gone in the favour of CB and the Bretonnian and Wood Elf alliance, as Prince Sigvald just continues to charge right now. Now, Fey Enchantress can't heal herself anymore. She can use Favour of the Fey, though, on some of these units to buff them up, and likewise she can heal all the other units as well. I don't even know what's going on here. Oh, they're just literally just chasing off troops. Just chasing off troops, trying to force Prince Sigvald to feel alone and isolated. Now, there's some Eternal Guard with him, and they're like, don't worry, bro, we got your back. We're some of those ride or die elves. We don't flee like our fellow elvish forces do. And just as they say that, they probably get surrounded and break here, and they do. So they get completely shattered, and it's just Prince Sigvald. It is just Prince Sigvald. He's up to 109 kills already, and he's having to fight Glade Guard in combat, who do currently have the Favour of Fey popped on them, giving them 61 melee attack. They are broken. I wonder if it'd been worth popping it instead on the Knights of the Realm. But I guess it's getting a lot of value from troops who otherwise would do basically 0 damage to Sigvald, who's just going to have to stand there. And it looks like the CB guys, their plan is to send one unit in after another and just try and get as many Favour of the Fays and Earthbloods and stuff down as possible, which is the way to do this. I mean, you can try and surround him and break him, and you can see Sigvald's leadership is starting to waver a little bit, but if he holds firm, if Favour of Fey does go down on the Knights of the Realm this time, that's 74 melee attack, but it looks like they may go down. Prince Sigvald's up to 200 kills. If he wins this, guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This battle has gone on for over 20 minutes. Prince Sigvald, the Chad. The absolute Chad. Let's see if he can break the 300 kills. I don't know if there's enough forces left on the field. They're probably just going to keep breaking. I think Sigvald's won it, guys. I really do. Sigvald up against 250 troops. The problem is they're all archers with no ammo. They have really, like, pretty crappy melee stats, and Sigvald's such a good defensive character. Heroic Killing Blow comes down. Favour of Fey is popped on the Knights of the Realm this time. Unfortunately, they're probably going to break. Yeah, oh no, they're still holding the line relatively well, actually, in that lance formation. I'm not sure how they've doing so stalwart here in the face of Sigvald. I'd probably be running right now if I had seen him kill nearly 300 of my friends. And, oh my god, this battle just goes on. This battle just goes on. Prince Sigvald up to 300 kills! The absolute beast! This is ridiculous. He is now at his healing cap, however. If we can see some more favours of the Fae go down. Oh no, did he pop it on the Glade Guard? No, he popped it on the Glade Guard, who are already quite weakened. And that is a victory for XMT. Oh my god. Yeah. Don't know what to say about that one. Conrad always knows. Conrad always knows. Siggy busy looking for his shield and salivating. My money's on Sigvald. Nerf Slanesh, please. My god. Siggy didn't care. Siggy did not care. Like, what's 340 kills? That was actually flying tacos there. Prince Sigvald, 4,598 damage value, 27,335 damage dealt, 340 kills. I mean, what do we say? What do we say, guys? That is insane. That is absolutely insane. 630 on the Chaos Source of Metal. I love the saving of that final transmutation till the sisters were so low and then they couldn't get their conjoined destiny. Really good play by Flying Taco, and I think he protected his ally really well with his ground forces across the board. They didn't get the best damage value, but they helped protect Nomru's vast ranged troops, who themselves got pretty good value for the most part. I mean, these two units did not. But 1,100, 400, 900. There's a bit of a mixed bag. 1,300. Okay, some of the Glade Guard did really good. Others did really poorly. It was certainly a mixed one there. Ancient Treeman tanked a lot of damage and unfortunately did go down in the midpoint of the battlefield. Waystalkers are so good, man. 1,899 damage dealt, or damage value I should say, and 2,242 just picking like a little kid picking out a scab onto those Sisters of Twilight, eventually helping to drag them down. As for Lunacy, he did a real solid job. I mean, his build isn't too dissimilar to Nomru's here, apart from the Sisters of Twilight, who fared much better than the Ancient Treeman, with 1,184 damage value. It's not great either. They were quite well handled, I think, by the XMT lads today, who kept a lot of the key units at arm's reach. The Tunnel Guard across the board did okay. Glade Guard did really good. I think he matched his Glade Guard a little bit better. 1,100 damage value, 1.2, 1.2, 1.3, 750, and 648. Yeah, Lunacy had some really good control on his Glade Guard. As for the forces of Bretonia and Hydra Dominatus, I really don't know if Double Paladin and Fate, I see it more and more get countered now. I feel like people have eventually started to figure it out. It's still very powerful, but particularly in 2v2 because of the healing, I suppose it's still probably going to be very meta. 900 damage value on the Fey Enchantress. The Paladin's just getting slaughtered though. 9 damage value in 74. It's not a good day for them whatsoever. Neither was it for the ground forces. Lovely use though by Hydra. Good micro of his cavalry. He did manage to get into Nomru's back line. 1.2, 2,196 damage value on the Knights of the Realm, who fared much better than the Questing Knights, who unfortunately were too busy questing and dreaming of the Lady of the Lake. Full Trebuchets, just shy of 800 damage value and 925. If Nomru hadn't forgotten his Eternal Guard, I think that would have been a much more one-sided affair. But it did in the end come down to the mighty Prince Sigvald just tanking and beating back the forces of evil. So, that was a 2v2 game, guys. So that means it is worth 2 points. So it is now 6-0 to Extreme Meme Team. And up next, we do indeed have a 1v1. Yeah, this was the last game. So going back to the 1v1s, it shall be, oh god, I apologize if I butcher your name in advance. Ashra Riel up against Killaruno here of XMT. I know Killaruno said, he was messaging me before actually, that he couldn't make the live stream, but he was very excited to hop into this. No, you can't just solo our armies. Oh, thee of little Sigmar, oh not Sigmar, Sigvald faith. What's up, Torx? Hope you're all good, champ. Fantastic to see you here, man. We did indeed actually see Torx Brass Ball to a lovely victory earlier. I'm sure you were just cleaning off your axes before hopping into the live stream today. Hope you're all good. Hello, Torx, my dull engine of destruction and carnage. How was your last maths exam? Man, I hope you guys are enjoying this. It's so good to be back doing live streams. Again, sorry I haven't been able to do live streams now for like a week and a half. I was very ill. My voice still isn't fully recovered. I can feel it going already. So after this game, we may take a little bit of a break. We'll see. We'll see if we can go through like 1 or 2 more first and then hop in. I think we've gone through 3 games so far. So we're on to number 4 now. Let's hop into this. It is a 1v1 High Elves versus Dark Elves. So Battle of the Pointy Ears. Should be good fun. Oh my god, there's so much skirmish from the Dark Elves. And a lot of Lothran Seaguard from Killerino. So hopefully some pretty decent counter skirmishing going on here as well. It's the Elves' fault for not doing 501 damage per second. I agree fully. I agree fully. So, let's hop into this one. So, for the forces of the High Elves and Extreme meme team's very own Killerino, we have a little spearmen. So, just spearmen dotted through the front line with some rangers to help support. So, not that much in the way of infantry. And then an insane amount of Lothran Seaguard. I do not believe these are the shielded variety. So, just the basic Lothran Seaguard dotted all the way along. They can counter skirmish relatively well. And if you do push into combat, hey, they can just whip out their spears and help protect themselves like that. We have a couple of units of Silver Helms, 1 guarding either flank and 1 in the back here. And then we have some more archers as well. So 2 units of archers. We have a Mage of Metal coming in with Plague of Rust and Final Transmutation. We have a Great Eagle up in the skies and a Lara the Radiant with Earthblood, Star of Avalon, and I believe it is her immune psychology. Oh no, the Physical Resistance Shieldstone of Isha, or Aisha, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Pretty cool build. It's going to be interesting to see how it performs here today. For the forces of CB and the Dark Elves, we have Dread Spears all the way along, as well as some Bleak Swords in the mix, and Witch Elves, these scarletly clad ladies of carnage and murder, will do some really nice damage, you'd think, to their opponents, if they can get to grips with them without being riddled through with arrows. Dark Rise Repair Crossbows, we have 2 units on this right-hand side, supported by some Cold One Knights. Same situation is happening on the left-hand side, and Triple Squadron and Chariots. This army is led... Oh, I thought it was Malice Darkblade briefly. We still get Malekith. Hey, it's cooler than Marathi, at least. And we get to see Gaze of Malice, which is a bound little spell or breath ability, I should say. We have Stand Your Ground and Soul Stealer, as well as... Oh, I have not seen this before. Gives a 100% miscard chance to enemy lords and heroes. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know this existed because he never brings it. Maybe it's just normally too expensive. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway. You think this Dark Elf build is illegal? Too much Missile Cav / Chariots? Oh no. Breaks it for the weak. Man, my voice is weak right now. Oh well, I'll have to let these guys know afterwards. But we'll see if it does affect the battle here today. Lothran Seaguard are raining shots down, counter skirmishing into the Squadron and Chariots, who to be honest aren't that bad at absorbing missile pressure. In the form of like arrows and so forth. They're far better at it than the Dark Riders are. Although the Double Eagles can do some nice counter skirmishing if they hop on top of the Scourge Runners, but it's risky because they take so much damage on the approach. Looks like the front line is about to engage. You would think it was going to favour the Dark Elves here. Bleak Sword should better carve through Spearmen, and we have the Witch Elves as well lurking somewhere. Cavalry starting to whip round the flanks. Dark Riders are piercing the skin of the Silver Helms right now, doing some lovely damage. Good focus. You can see the Dark Elves are doing a flank overload on this left-hand side. The High Elves needed to rotate their build round. They need to rotate it this way round to counter this threat. If you get a flank overload, you kind of have to pivot your army round, so their flank overload isn't actually it's facing the front rather than the flank. Lothran Seagull and Archers are opening shots up into the Dark Riders, doing some really lovely damage here. You can see this unit Dark Riders is being forced back, the other one is going to retreat. Witch Elves were held in reserve, waiting for all the Archers to be a little bit distracted, and now they're going to drive forward into the Spearmen. Looks like the spell can't make up its mind of where it is. It did hit the Squadron and Chariots, so doing some lovely damage to them. Dread Spears are starting to get carved down as Spearmen are struggling to hold the line. Silver Helms are pinning in Squadron and Chariots though, with some really good play there by the High Elf player. Lothran Seaguard are about to be swarmed, unfortunately, by the Cold One Knights. They do have anti-large, but you know, it's still a gigantic, terrifying Velociraptor with a heavily armoured elf on top. It's going to shove you down and do some pretty good work. Both the Eagles are going for an assassination attempt on a Malekith. I think this is a good way for the High Elves to get back into this game. In fact, they are technically ahead on the balance of power, but it does feel like this left-hand side's gone really poorly for them. But they actually managed to hold the line and stabilise. Really good play so far, actually. I've been very impressed by Killerino. I thought he had too much range to protect, but he's done a good job. Cohen Knights get hit by a Plague of Rust as the Silver Helms pin them in, buying time for the Lothran Seaguard to shut down these troops. Dark Riders forced into combat just to try and stop the enemy from shooting. Star of Avalon goes down, healing up Alaria the Radiant as well as the Great Eagle. The Cohen Knights are being used to protect Malekith rather successfully here, and Alaria is attempting to flee through the Lothran Sea Guard, which is just what you want to do. Pull them back through your troops. Witch Elves are actually not having a good day right now. I don't know if they've been whittled down by archer fire, or if it's just the Rangers, who are pretty good at slicing and dicing themselves. But you can see the absolute carnage going on the battlefield right now. There's a load of Dark Riders that do receive some pretty good long-range firepower coming in here from the Lothran Sea Guard, who are doing some good work. Great Eagle, as well as the glorious Alara the Radiant, will bomb dive the Kowa Knights, looking to try to break them. Stand your ground, though, is keeping them alive and active. If they can get another final transmutation down these Kowa Knights and Malekith, it's certainly going to be all over. Left-hand flank is still a bit of a mess. The Lothran Sea Guard have been quite a nice anchor so far for the High Elf build. We have Scourge Runners running, but we also have Dark Shards forcing their way in. Scourge Runners running over the Elvish formations, and Dread Spears starting to push forward. Very close game so far. The Witch Elves, up to 99 kills, are going to start to tussle with the Lothran Sea Guard, which is very, very bad news here for the forces of the High Elves. I think Alariel and the Great Eagle need to snipe Malekith, but now it's become a whole lot harder. He's surrounded by Cold Ones, friends and foes alike, but also the Witch Elves, who can rampage the Great Eagle and Alariel, stopping them from casting spells, but also stopping them from escaping. Squadron Chariot is going to go down here by the use of the Great Eagle. I actually quite like this pick from Killerona. It's not something we see terribly often. The Lothran Sea Guard are trying to hold back the enemy, buying time for the archers to unleash salvo after salvo into their enemy. Lothran Sea Guard did some good work onto the Dark Riders, who should just move into combat mode and run these guys over for good. But that's easier said than done, particularly the Great Eagle and the Lariel flying around the battlefield. Oh no! This is a disaster! The Witch Elves have caught the Mage of Metal. He needs a final transmutation, I think, to bring this game back. Like, just drop it on Malekith and all of these troops. Luckily, he's gone for the assassination attempt with his Double Eagle, and that's dragged away the attention of the Dark Elves. And though the Mage is chasing after them, hey, I want to be one of you guys, they should be able to get under control relatively quickly now, you would think, and perhaps save up some more Winds of Magic. However, the Great Eagle has been sacrificed to save the Mage right now. We do get a Star of Avalon. It's going to heal up the Great Eagle quite a bit. The Lara the Radiant has charged into combat, and we are getting another spell down here. It is a final transmutation. It is, unfortunately, not overcast, though, but it's doing so much damage to all of this Dark Elf force, and the Lariel on her mighty pigeon is pecking out the eyes of Malekith, supported by the Great Eagle. We also have Spearman pushing into the main fight now. Dark Rise have been finished off, and I think the force of the High Elves are actually going to be able to win this one. It looked a little bit bleak in the mid-stage of the battle. Malekith is still relatively tanky at the moment. Soulstealer could go down and maybe turn the tide, so we do have to be a little bit careful. But I think the High Elves are in a pretty dominant situation right now. They have a decent amount of archers, and they're kind of all spread out all over the battlefield. Arminos kicks in, and man, Extreme Meme Team. I know that they're split into two groups, and this one is called the Extreme Meta Tryhards. They are going crazy. They are going crazy, man. They performed so well in the last clan war in their first group game, and again today, coming in with a fury. Killer Uno getting this game off Mr. Royale there, who put up a pretty damn good display as well. So let's quickly upgrade XMT. Yet another point, up to 7 there, doing some really solid work. So I will quickly hop in. Yes. So I just got a message from Grombrindle. Let's reply to that quickly, and we'll hop back in. So, well played to these two champs. A very close game. Very, very close. Honestly, that came down to the final transmutation. Killer Uno kind of saved himself there. The Mage was about to go down. That Mage was needed. But going in for the assassination attempt on Malekith, forcing the hands of the Dark Elves to come and protect their lord, allowed the Mage to survive and then seal the deal at the end of the day with an impressive 1.2k damage value. Alaro did good work, 1000 damage value on her and 966 on the Great Eagle. Good little duo squad there. I don't get to see the Giant Eagle off them. And I think they did a good job. Killerona looked a little bit on the back foot. He didn't kind of pivot to deal with that flank overload. But due to his real good build composition as well, Lothran Sea Guard were able to handle themselves quite nicely there. And you see 500 damage value, 820, 700, 1000. Pretty decent stuff across the board. Good use as well of his Silver Helms. Very impressed today, man. As for the Dark Elves as well, I really did like their play. 2,167 damage value on Malekith. It's good to see him in action, and he performed really well. Bleak Swords carved a bloody path through the High Elves into the back line. Once they got there, all they met were a load of spears and hooves. And just shy of 700 damage value on the Witch Elves. As for the Cold Ones, both 1.3 on each. Now, the big downside, I think, was the Dark Rider play. We got 580 damage value here, 1,000 on this unit, but the other two really struggled. Squadron Chariots did okay, but nothing amazing. Again, like 160 damage value in the mid-500s. So the skirmish is kind of what let the Dark Elves down, but in his defense, he didn't have that many good targets for his skirmish really to hit because of the build from Killer Uno today, which I don't know how the meta in this matchup goes. It's not a matchup I've seen a terrible amount of times, but it was very impressive. So I actually really like this high-up build quite a bit indeed. What's up, Zhao? How's it going? I see you are a member of Clan Han. I believe they are also in this clan war, though in a different group at the moment. Perfection, my hands are sweating just watching. That was such a good game, for sure. Hank believes XMT, RTK, VM, and ODM are going to be the 4 finalists. It could possibly end up that way. There's quite a few other good clans in here as well, though. Quite a few good other clans in here as well. Yeah, exactly, Christopher. You always have enough protection for range when your range is the protection as well. I agree, man, I agree. So, we just watched this one, I believe. Yeah, so we're going to be hopping into the second 2v2 today. And then we have the 3v3 and then 3 more 1v1s. I'm just going to keep drinking some water there. So hopefully, if my voice is okay tomorrow, which doing this live stream, I can kind of feel it dying. Not gonna lie, maybe this live stream was a little bit early, but I'd gone a week and a half out in a live stream. I wanted to do one so bad. Hopefully we'll be doing the other two clans in this group, their games against each other, which will be EC versus Extreme Meme Team, team number 2. So it should be some good fun. But anyway, we have Pandasma leading the Dwarf and Empire Alliance with Lord Lever. Oh, hell yeah. Super thematic stuff here. Coming in from CB, up against Killer Uno and Ice Powers, Bretonians, and Dark Elves. Let's hop into this. 2v2s are something I don't often cast. They're like... most people don't seem to want to watch them as much. They always kind of get less views and all that kind of stuff. Though this clan war, which has been run rather well, by the way, by Vicious Satsuma. Massive shout out to him for getting this whole thing organised. It's been really good fun because we've got a mixture of 1v1s, 3v3s, and 2v2s. It opens up a load of different tactical options that I don't normally get to cast and explore for you guys. What's up, Wurtez? Hope you're all good, man. We are indeed back and live streaming, which is good fun. So let's pop into slow-mo and check out the build, shall we? So for the forces of the... let's go through the Bretonians first. So this is the forces of Extreme Meme Team right here. We have some Quest Knights, a load of Peasant Mobs started through the front line, as is the standard way. And the Fjords have been summoned with men-at-arms in the secondary battle line and Peasant Mob Bowmen in the third line. So a load of cheap, cheerful infantry for the most part. It's all going to be about the cavalry, as it normally is with Bretonia. We have Quest Knights, we have more Quest Knights, and you guessed it, we have even more Quest Knights. So 4 units of Quest Knights, supported by the Fey Enchantress on Steed, and just the 1 Paladin for protection. So no double Paladin today. For the forces of Ice Powers at Dark Elves, we have a bit of an aerial threat here. We have double Harpies in the sky, double Ferromanticore, and Malekith on a dragon. What did you do to the real Ice Power? Where is Marathi? Where is the Marathi? This makes no sense. But we have Malekith on his awesome dragon. Is it called the Black Dread? Or I'm just making that up in my head. I'm not sure. That might be a dragon from Game of Thrones. But he's kind of Soul Sealer and looking like an absolute G. I love this mix-up. We have some Cold One chariots, so no Scourge chariots either. These guys can do some pretty decent work, got heavy mass, and can abuse the dwarfs quite nicely, which is good to see. So a real aggressive faction here coming in from XMT boys. CB going to be taking a more defensive approach, which is the way I see a lot of 2v2 players do it, and they're taking the high ground as well, and this is a chunky wall of dwarfs to break through. We have Dwarf Warriors dotted through the front line, backed up by Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And then there, just behind them shall be some Thunderers, more Dwarfs with great weapons, and then some Slayers in the back in the form of the Dragonbacks, and 1 cannon. We have a Master Engineer, as well as Thoric Ironbrow, of course, by far and away the most competitive Dawit Lord right now. Coming in with the Rune of Slowness, Rune of Wrath and Ruin, Rune of Negation, and the Rune of Doom. For the force of the Empire, we have some Spearmen, who look a little out of place in the Dawit front line, a load of Halberds guarding the flanks, Silver Bullets, we have a Hellblaster Volley Gun, which is very cool. The Sunmaker, the Royal Aldorf Griffites, Jadewits, of course, to support them, more Halberds, and Marcus Wolfart. Going to be some good fun. I'm excited to hop into this one. And a load of cannon shots are being unleashed. It looks like they are currently aiming at the Peasant Bowmen. Probably going to want to switch their targets to some of the larger threats or the chariots. And the Sunmaker is up to 22 kills already. Done some decent work there to the Bleak Swords. And it's not a bad idea. Hit the Bleak Swords or hit the Peasant Bowman. You can see he's switching targets right now. So it's basically undodgeable, which is good to see. Like a lot of volley coming and some really nice work there onto the Bleak boys. Big old shot does get Kobe down the line, and it swerves and misses. Marcus Wolfhart thought he was in the film The Wanted there, but unfortunately did miss. And again, we have this big flank overload tactic. This is how I speak about so much. Almost all the cavalry is on this flank, the lords are on this flank, the flyers are on this flank, and it's looking just to crush the dwarfs and Empire defensive formation from one side. It's such a good tactic to try to break in that one kind of defensive formations all round. A load of shots are opening up. The Thunderers are raining shots into the already battered Bleak Swords and into the Peasant mobs, who certainly aren't going to appreciate that. Hellstorm continues to fire, now aiming at the Peasant Bowman, which I think is a really good target. You can see they're already starting to waver and perhaps break. And now the units in the trees have been revealed. We have Halberdiers here, we have Dragonback Slayers. Thunderers are going to turn and unleash hell upon the Harpies. Doing some pretty nice work. They need to commit to a dive. Otherwise they are going to break. And it looks like the Royal Out of Griffites, though, are very quick on the draw. Going to drive in and finish off the Harpies probably before they can overwhelm the Sunmaker. It's hard to tell. Handgunners and as well as Thunderers have both rallied to try to see them off, and it looks like they have been dealt with. Big Fat Soul Slayer comes in. Manticore does go for a bomb dive. Malekith is just kind of floating and vibing at the moment. Coal One Chariots are trying to hit this one flank and starting to overwhelm the Dwarf Warrior front line rather nicely. The Peasant Bowmen are being forced back, and they're kind of wasting shots at the moment into Dwarf Warriors. A big Rune of Doom goes down, and that does indeed affect allies as well, buffing up the Royal Adolf Griffites to some quite frankly ridiculous stats there. Malekith is still floating around, chilling for now. The Quest Knights have managed to pop up into the rear as well. However, there's a lot of halberds around here. We do also have a Hunter's Snare go down on Malekith. Silver Bullets are starting to line up some shots. I don't know if the Thunderers are shooting this way. I don't think they are. Not that many volleys will be going in. It looks like just the one connects, though the Thunderers do fire and unfortunately miss due to good micro here by Ice Power, dragging Malekith down to the ground. Although the Royal Adolf Griffites ain't 9 to F with, they will pin you down if given the opportunity, and Malekith's taking quite a considerable amount of damage at the moment. Harpies are starting to swarm the Silver Bullets, as well as Marcus Wolfhart. We also have Quest Knights in the back line here. So it's an absolute flustercluck, as basically every 2v2 does eventually become. Soul Stealer goes down, catching the Royal Aldorfs, as well as these halberds here, which should stabilise Malekith, because he was starting to look a little bit beat up and low there. Forkheimbrau is going toe-to-toe with the Cold One Chariots, and a decent job himself, up to 3 kills. He is surrounded, though, by some rather elite units here. We have a Master Engineer as well, getting a little bit beat up, and Malekith is going to have to slink away. He's getting healed up, though, by his ally, which is really good news for him. Enchantress is going after Thoric, which is going to do basically nothing. Thoric has ridiculously good armor and magic resistance, so this fight will definitely go Thoric's way, but luckily the Enchantress decides, you know what, I want to instead feast upon the souls of some Hellblaster Volley Gunsmen or this Jade Wizard and absorb her power. Cannon being shut down, Hellblaster is starting to get shut down as well. It's been quite a good push by the Extreme Meme team, lads. It was a little bit rough early on, but that's going to be the way when you're taking on such a defensive formation. Dwarf Warriors are really overextended right now, chasing off men-at-arms, and Peasants Archers as well are starting to shoot them from all sides. So Dwarfs have overextended a little bit, but I understand they're trying to micromanagement a ridiculous amount, and 2v2s are far harder to micromanage. A Potion of Chalice comes down, or the Chalice Potion, onto a mixture of everything. There's some okay damage there to the halberds. Malekith is going to land on top of the Master Engineer, who puts up a middle finger to him and pops a Rune of Slowness on him and tries to run away. However, even if you slow a dragon, it's probably going to be quite a bit faster than the Dwarf, who is pumping those Dwarvish legs, but unfortunately is routing at the moment. And it's looking pretty good for the aggressive force, the Extreme Meme team lads here. Dwarf Warriors are just being destroyed in the back by Cold One Chariots, and Crossfire from Peasant Bowman. Love the Crossfire here coming in by the Bretonnian player. Cold One Chariots as well can kite back away from the Dwarf Warriors. As far as the leadership core is concerned, though, Thoric Ironbrow is still going rather strong for the Dowie, and Marcus Wolfhart less so. He's still a lot of full health, but he's about to be jumped by a Paladin. There's Quest Knights nearby, there's a Fey Enchantress nearby, all stuff he doesn't really want to tussle with in combat. He can 360 no scope, he gets pushed down quite a lot as well, so he is relatively tanky and hard to snipe, but unfortunately overcomes the Feral Manticore, and he'll be able to seal the deal. Though a lovely little use of the Hunter's Snare will allow Marcus Wolfhart to escape, at least for now, but for how much longer? His allies are kind of betraying him and fleeing. Thoric is rallying his dwarfs to make a last stand upon the high ground here, and he's just beating down peasant mobs. That's what Thoric loves to do in his spare time. Just go through the peasantry and bonk him on the head with a big old fat hammer. Marcus Wolfheart's snare allowed him to survive a little while longer, but unfortunately for him, there's a big scary dragon, and it's going to descend down on Marcus. If he connects with his hits, as he did just then, you can see his HP just collapses off him. And with Marcus Wolfheart going down, I don't see any way back in for this. Extreme Meme Team are going absolute ham today so far, with some, quite frankly, ridiculously good performances. And I mean, CB are playing really well as well, it's just XMT seem to be on fire form. Common Chariots are going to try to run over the Dwarf Warriors there and finish them off for good. We can see that, yeah, Malekith and his homies, his newfound Question Knights. Maybe these guys are slaves. I know the Dark Elves do take a lot of Bretons as slaves. Do manage to kill Marcus Wolfheart there. Feral Manticore is able to bite off the head of the Jade Wizard, it would seem. Doing some good work. Thoric Ironbrow is trying to hunt down the Feral Manticore and bonk him on the head with his hammer. Cannon Crew is terrified. The other Feral Manticore is swooping up and around in the sky. And some Peasant Archers continue to rain in shots. Chalice Potions, beautifully classed there. Hits basically a very healthy unit of Halberdiers there. And just eviscerates them in a puff of magical smoke and asteroid debris. Thoric unfortunately decides, you know what, the Manlins, they weren't tough enough to support us. We're going to flee the battlefield and retreat and rally in our Dwarvish holds to come back and fight another day. But this 2v2 was indeed won by the mighty XMT. What's up, Zachary? Long time no see. Hope you're all good. I haven't seen you in a very long time. Hope you're all well, man. So a glorious Pyrrhic victory there for the forces of XMT once again. Yes, yes. So, Mr. Clarune doing pretty damn good once again. He's done his clan very proud today. So is Ice Power. They've both won their games available to them. I wonder if they're going to take part in the 3v3 as well. Fey Enchantress gets 1,185 damage value. Paladin did basically nothing, but, you know, he protected her. The Men-at-Arms, again, didn't do a huge amount of work. Peasant Archers, again, not much. It really came down to the Knights. 860 damage value, 484, 1.6k damage value, and 949. Ice Power's units must have got a lot of damage value. 800 on the Manticore, 500, 2.7, that's where all the value is in Malekith. 69 kills, he knows exactly how to make Slaanesh happy. 2.7 damage value is rather impressive. Blix also did okay across the board. The Chariots did really good micromanagement as expected by Ice. 800 damage value and 1,125. Harpies not too shabby either. For the forces of the Dwarfs, mighty Thoric Ironbrow, 1.2k damage value despite his allies fleeing around him, held the line rather strong as he often does. The Dramback Slayers did really good, 2,229 damage value, but everywhere else they kind of fell apart. For Lord Lever's forces, 880 damage value on Marcus Wolfheart. It's very rock and roll build, very, very elite and tightly compact. 729 on the Silver Bullets, 1.3k damage value on the Royal Outlaw Griffites isn't terrible. 940 damage value on the Hellblaster, 1.1k on the Sunmaker. Not a bad effort whatsoever, but Extreme Meme Team will be taking this one and gaining yet another 2 points. So they're up to 9 points right now. I believe that's right. Did I already update that? Let's double check. So there's a 3-3 left, so that's worth 3 points. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, that is right, I believe. Oh no, the bots are back. The bots are back in town. Let's quickly get rid of them. Yeah, let's quickly end that poll. That's been going up for a little while. Slaanesh invades again, for sure, for sure. Slaanesh does love indeed to invade. So up next, we actually have the 3v3. We have Falcon, Maximus Decimus, and Ice Power. That's quite a big, you know, army of big guns there. Up against Lunacy, Lord Lever, and Hydra Dominatus. After that, we will be having Pandasma up against Falcon. We then have Lunacy versus Halanali, which I'm very excited for. And then Hadres versus Hydra in a Skaven mirror match to close out the stream, which will certainly be some good fun. Hope you guys are enjoying so far. If you are, feel free to give a cheeky little like and subscribe if you're new around here. Have a sip of my drink. That is good stuff. Let me very quickly check my my Discord. It looks like we have a few messages. Make sure they're not Cool. Just need to send a message very quickly. And we are back. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's that one more message. There we go. Cool. We have returned. So let's hop into this. 3v3, Tomb Kings, Vampire Counts, Vampire Coast, up against Vampire Coast, Tomb Kings, and High Elves. Gonna be a weird one. No, it's not the end the Black Form. We still have a 3v3 and 3 1v1s to go. Hope you're all good, man. My voice is dying, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty bad. But we will be able to make out this stream. I'm not sure if we'll be streaming tomorrow or not. But you've made it. It's good to be back streaming, for sure. Oh my god, what is this build? I think they do have to play with like reduced costs and stuff in the 3v3s. I've only played in 1v1s for my Team Hello, who I'm representing today. Yeah, Christopher, I don't know if Hanali took a break or something. I'm so happy he's back. I really want to play a load of games with Hanali. He's one of my favourite Lizman players. And as a Lizman fan, of course, that's you know, a big thing. So, for the forces of XMT, I believe, they're going to be in the blue here today. We're going to go through the build rather quickly because there's obviously a lot here. So, a load of zombies, of course, for the Vampire Counts, backed up by a load of Graveguard, dotted all the way along. We do, of course, have a double White King as well as a Corpse card. And we have a lot of Sirens, so this is very similar to what we saw from XMT in their last game. Go triple undead, it's very, very powerful. You can heal everything, everything's unbreakable. It's really quite nasty. So a load of Sirens in the secondary battle line. Looks like that's going to be dotted all the way along. There's some cavalry on the flanks. We have Carrion and Fellbats dotted all through the skies, making up a nice little force. We do indeed have a Vargulf. We have a double Gunnery White, as well as a Vampire Fleet Admiral of the Deep coming in on the Crabbo. We have polearms, gunnery mobs, all that glorious, cheap and cheerful undead garbage. We have Cetra the Imperishable leading the Tomb Kings. Isabella von Karstein. Hell yeah, that's a cool pick. I'm not sure who's playing with Vampire Counts today, but well played to you. Coming in with the Blood Chalice, Raised and Invocation, up on a Hellsteed. And it's the Admiral as well. We've got a load of Skeleton Chariots as well coming in, which I think Falcon's playing at the Tomb Kings. He's got real good micromanagement with his Skeleton Chariots and Carrion here, and the flanking cavalry. Cetras here. Kind of a battle of the Cetras. Yes, Black Fawn, it's going to be pretty awesome stuff. So after this, we do have 3 1v1s as well coming in. Unfortunately, people keep hopping on Steam, so I can't press the play button right now. I'm going to wait for them to disappear. There we go, bam. Hop in while we can. Early Fireball is going to go down, trying to snatch some hit points off of Cetra, and it completely misses and goes into the ground, not really harming anyone, unfortunately. Now, the Cossack Soldier is going to be amazing up against the Sirens, simply due to the fact it does, of course, do magical damage, so these Sirens need to be very, very careful. Earclaw Bolt Throwers are focused firing down the Vampire Fleet Admiral, which is a real solid target for them. There's probably the best target, honestly, on the board for them. I mean, Corpse Cart and Cetra can be fine, but Gunnery Whites aren't amazing at juking and all that kind of stuff. Skeleton Horsemen unfortunately get crumped on this flank by the Silver Helms. We do have Sirens nearby to support the secondary unit though, and they have some pretty good AEP, so Silver Helms need to be careful. They don't want to tangle with both units at the same time. The Undead Hordes are rather slow on the approach. Opal Amulet does go down, and a Blood Chalice does go down as well on the Vampire Fleet Admiral, just to try and keep them alive. Skeleton Spearmen get absolutely roasted. They're going to break as well as Skeleton Chariots do clatter into their ranks, looking to apply pressure to the back line. However, there's a lot of Crabbos here waiting in the back. Carrion are flying high up in the sky as the Skeleton Chariots do charge in, looking to overrun their enemies and push their way in. Carrion are going to do a bit of a suicide charge down to the Eagle Bolt Thrower. There's no way they can actually win this, but it does shut it down for at least a limited time. There's a summon of zombie pirate gunnery mobs by Clan CB to help protect this back line if at all possible. And a lot of the Carrion have committed on just suicidal charges at the moment. Archmage is vibing and flying in the sky. We do see the Spearmen get hit by an incantation of desiccation here, and they're suffering quite badly as another fireball does get added. Going after the Vargulf, who unfortunately does find himself face down in the dirt as Cetra comes in and slaps him and gets him back up to his feet and ready for the action. Silver Helms have been forced off right now. Good use of Isabella as well to chase them off. I like that quite a bit. Allow Cetra and the other units to start to force their way in to the enemy back line. Skeleton Chariots have done some decent damage, but they are now starting to suffer a little bit as Cetra clatters in to the Vampire Count front line. Skeleton Chariots trying to support, but there's a load of sneaky snakes looking to pin them in, and that's a really nice counterplay coming in by Clan CB here. Sirens and Zombies stacked on top of each other are going toe-to-toe with the Skeleton Spearmen and trying their little hardest here as more carrion do swoop up and above the sky, looking to bring the pain to the enemy. And it's just a flustercluck, guys. Look at this. Look at the carnage. There is just death and destruction everywhere we look. More horsemen slamming to the back, looking to shut down not only the Casket of Souls, but maybe also this Necrotect. Unfortunately for them, a lovely counterpunch once again with the Knights. This Tomb King player for CB's done a really fantastic job of supporting his fellows in the back forces. Archmage of Fire is still alive. Love to see some big burning heads go down on the Grave God and other units to clear out some of this chaff and allow the Roman Police to try to carry in the later stages of the game. Double Gunnery Right supporting Count Oculus is a really nasty proposition. We do have a burning head go down the line onto the Skeleton Spearman. Does some pretty decent kills. It's also, unfortunately, going to absolutely roast their ally. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It missed for the most part. It missed for the most part. It's kind of hard to tell who's winning. Balance power is relatively even at the moment. Isabella is just chasing away this Archmage, which is not a bad target whatsoever because there's not that much ground support, at least shooting-wise, at the moment, which isn't currently preoccupied. Extreme Meme Teams, Cetra the Imperishable is well and truly in the back line, hunting down Count Noculus. Lovely use there of the Incantation of Desiccation, lowering the stats of all these troops. Now, CB's very own Cetra is very healthy as well, up to 58 kills. We have to see who is the true champ. Lovely little use there of a Kraken's Pull, I believe it is, that has been birthed into the world, just getting rid of a load of chaff. Archmage up in the sky is really starting to struggle quite badly. He's been hounded and harassed by the Carrion, and unfortunately slowed down because of this, allowing Isabella to come in for a snipe. That's some really good teamwork there by the XMT lads. We do have an Invocation Hex go down, trying to heal up all of the lads, and it does look like the Roman Prometheans are starting to get whittled down and beat up just a little bit, though the Gunnery Whites are looking pretty damn healthy. Casket of Souls is still fine. It doesn't have the best targets anymore. It's kind of down to a lot of the core of the build, you know, the single entities, the chariots and so forth. Chariots come clattering to support the Sirens up against the Skeleton Spearmen and Silver Helms. Should be able to win that engagement, you would think, but the Silver Helms can dish out some pretty nice pain. This Cetra needs to be probably more involved in the main fight, assassinating key targets, rather than just running over chaff. Archmage in the sky has done some really good work in fairness, duking and surviving for as long as possible. But now as the game starts to kind of collapse, it seems like XMT may be in a slight advantage right now, particularly if they can kill this Archmage with just a few humble carrion. There were some shots down from the ground trying to support the Archmage, but I think that friendly fire is just going to do any worse than any better, really. Archmage is trying to get back to friendly foes and maybe dive down to get a little bit of that support. Are we going to have a Cetra off? I mean, the Clan CB Cetra is way more healthy right now than the Extreme Meme Teams, who's trying his little hardest, but is about to get kind of ganked now by this other Cetra. There's a Vargolf nearby to support, though. Isabella as well is still relatively healthy at the moment. Double Gunnery Whites are shooting in at probably the Double Gunnery Whites. Just focus one down. Wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. And all of a sudden, CB Cetra has taken quite a pounding. It's going to jump and try and crack the shell of this other Gunnery White and do some good work. But Cetra on Cetra violence. Cetra does not serve. It's kind of one of those weird paradoxes we have now, where this is going to loop around. Then it's going to be Knight swooping in to try to support, but likewise is Isabella. And it looks like CB Cetra is actually going to go down here. He's been hit by on his popped Incantation of Protection to try and keep himself alive. But he's surrounded by quite a few scary foes, including this Vargo who's been getting slammed around all day, and the fire support of a Gunnery White, which is very scary stuff. That can do so much long-range pressure. We do have a U-Shopty Summon coming in from the Extreme Meme Team's Tomb Kings, and it's just surrounding Count Oculus, being a pain in the butt, basically, doing what U-Shopty Summons do best. And Cetra is crumbling, minus 16 HP right now, or leadership I should say. A load of shots do come in as well from the zombie pirate gunnery mobs. Nice use there of that summon. These guys might not be a summon, it might just be a straight up unit. The Knights are trying their best. Isabella is going to swoop down, looking to pluck the skull from Cetra, kind of Scooby-Doo style, to reveal underneath that it wasn't actually Cetra the entire time, because the Cetra was over here instead. And there's no way this Cetra's going to survive this. There's no way. His cat kind of bounds out of that danger for a little while, but Isabella was well and truly right up behind him and managed to drag him down. And with that, I think this is going to be game over pretty much. It's been a very close game. There's still Count Noctilus and the double gunnery white, but now there's so much more gooning potential coming in from the XMT lads. You have Cetra, who's going to be quite scary. Isabella, who's scary. You've got this Vargulf. They can simply go around now and kill all the heroes and lords, and that does seem like quite a big element of 2v2s and 3v3s, as assassinating characters tends to win you the game, or at least put you in a really good stead. The Gunnery White is giving himself more powder to keep fighting, and now all the little Karen here are going to dive down, just annoy the enemy as Cetra comes in looking to claim his rightful crown, as him and Isabella both go for a gooning attempt on Count Noctilus and the Gunnery White. Halberds can push forward. It looks like a lot of the units are just chilling at the moment for XMT because they don't really need to push forward too much. Weird use of their ability there. Hopefully this was played. All of these games were meant to be played on live, because if they played on the beta, it messes up the replays and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what that was about. Hopefully that was just a weird kind of ending to the game. Looks like another Lord goes down, and XMT shall be claiming the 3v3 crown. We just have 3 1v1s left. So the Clan War has already been won. This round has been won by XMT, but there's still plenty of points left to play for, and of course we get to see a load of glorious games. Well played to Falcon, Maximus Decimus, Ice Power, Lunacy, Lord Lever, and Hydra Dominatus. You guys did a really solid job. 2.7k damage value on Falcon Cetra. Microed very effectively, particularly in the later stages of the game, where he was up against a healthier Cetra and still came out on top. Skeleton Spearman did okay. Likewise, the Horsemen didn't do too much. Skeleton Chariots were constantly bobbing and weaving, just distracting and harassing the enemy. Fantastic Karen play. Like, it doesn't matter about the damage done, damage value on those guys. They were so good at harassing that Archmage in the sky. Isabella was very impressed with her today. 900 damage value. The White Kings didn't do anything too crazy. It really was just a grind fest. The Graveguard Great Weapons really did shine though. 1000 damage value, 1000 damage value, 670, 500. Good use of the Vargulf as well, 1.4k damage value. For Ice Power, interesting build with the max Sirens. The Sirens did a real mixed bag. Like a couple in the mids, 600 damage value, 500, then an abysmal 200, and then a very impressive 1500. Good use with his gunnery mobs, one of them assisting in the assassination of Cetra in the later stages of the game. 1300 damage value on this deckhand mob polearm, that's good stuff. Gunnery Whites were used amazingly, 2.1 and 2.3k damage value, and 2.5 on the Vampire Fleet Admiral, very deadly combo. As for Lunacy, he went for a really small build of Krabos, 1.2 on the Rotten Promethean Regiment Renown, 845 and 960 damage value on the other two. Gunnery Whites, 2000 damage value, 1400 and 2000 on Count Noctilus. The Force Cetra only 900 damage value, so you can kind of tell he was not real. I do like the Snake play. I thought that was really good done, but well done by Lord Lever. 1.8k damage value, 763, 1158 on the oh yeah, that's the right one. On the Casket Souls, and Hydra Dominatus somehow kept this Archmage alive. He was being harassed constantly by Falcon and kept him going for a really decent amount of time, up to 1.2k damage value. Spearman and Silver Guard across the board did okay. Held the line, good Silver Helm play, and the artillery pieces, 680 damage value, 554 and 1.1k. Isn't too shabby. They did get some good initial pressure onto Ice Power's little Krabos. Okay, let me have a little sip of my drink again. That is some glorious water. And let's update the scoreboard. So that should be up to 12 points now. So there's 3 points left on display. We're going to have to make that 12 a little bit smaller to fit it in. Boop. Awesome stuff. And the next games shall be Pandasma versus Falcon, Warriors of Chaos v Norska. Then we get Halanali, yes, Hype Lisman, hype, versus Lunacy, and then a Skaven Mirror to close us out. Yeah, they've added a load of restrictions, I think, to the 3v3s and stuff. Kind of strange to see a 3v3, which is 2/3 a mirror match. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Mick Rightface. Oh my god, I can finally pronounce your name. Yeah, the Tomb King's Undead factions get so much love in 3v3s. Kraken Spell is so bad, it's 100% champ. It's so good to have you here, Blackthorn, by the way. I'm happy that I returned to streaming and we've got a lot of people coming back. I know it's only been like a week and a half off. But it felt like longer. It felt like a lot longer. So let's hop into this one. Pandasma, Warriors of Chaos versus Falcon's Norska. Cool to see Norska being represented as well. Very interested to see what he does in this matchup and how it compares differently to what I do. Because I've had to face this matchup quite a bit recently. Oh, Pandasma coming with Kolek. I love it. I love it. So let's hop this into slow motion and go through the Norskan build. So for Falcon, it is mass skirmish cavalry, as is the meta. This tends to be a battle of skirmish cav, and his opponent has gone, nah, screw that, skirmish cavs for the week, and I'm not going to bring it. Well, Falcon's like, well, that's my gain, your loss, because he has a load of horsemen and a load of horsemasters dotted all the way along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skirmish cav units. That is I think the max you can have, and it is some very scary stuff indeed. We have a load of basic, cheap and cheerful Chaos Marauders in the front line, backed up by a load of cheap and cheerful Chaos Marauders, hefting gigantic War Axes, so great weapons in that secondary formation. We do have 2 Feral Manticores up in the sky. We have Wolfric the Wanderer on his chariot, rolling dirty like a bouse, coming in with Seafang as well as Hunted Champions. We have Final Transmutation, Shaman Sorcerer of Metal, and a good fat woolly mammoth. Let's give him a little neck scratch. Oh god, my voice. Oh. Little neck scratch there, just to let him know that he's still a good boy, despite the fact he's kind of a little bit ugly compared to some of the glorious Lizardmen Dino forces. For the forces of Chaos here, we do have Chosen. Oh my god. We have 1, 2, I think 3 maybe? 3 units of basic Chosen, backed up by Chaos Warriors, and some more Chosen in fact. We have the Demon Spew, couple of Chaos Warriors with Halberds. We have Mirror Guard, Chaos Sorcerer of Fire with Burning Head and Cascading Firecloak, and Kolek Suneater coming in with the Star Crusher, Stand or Die, as well as his glorious Chain Lightning as well. Not Chain Lightning, it's basically Orion's Thunderbolt. It's called Lord of the Storm, which is a bit more of a badass name. So this is going to be pretty scary stuff, honestly, to try to deal with all of this skirmish cavalry. But we'll have to see how the mighty Warriors of Chaos do it. This is a real bad to the bones rock and roll build. I think he's going to have to absorb a lot of damage and just try to keep Kolek safe. Like, it's not nice taking damage with your Mirror Guard and with your Chosen, but hey, it's better than taking it with Kolek. Lord of the Storm does come down. For the most part, it was dodged there by Falcon, who can honestly just kite back. I wouldn't even engage my Marauders right now. I would just try and get as much value where I can from the Horsemen and just isolate units. There's some really good top tier play. Hey, you've got some Chosen on this flank. I'm going to jump my Chariot, my Caster, my Manticores, my Mammoth, all onto this one unit, kill it, and then run away. We're going to see a Burning Head come down the line on top of Marauders as well as Horsemasters. Luckily though, for Falcon, his micromanagement is always top notch, and he managed to fall back and dodge all of it. He's kind of kiting away right now from the Warriors of Chaos. Poor Kolek Suneater has been hit by 100 champions. Manticores jump on top of him with the Feral Mammoth, and Kolek is actually hitting back pretty damn hard. He cares little. Like 100 champions, yeah, it nerfs your stats. It does not nerf your damage output though, and he just warmed that Feral Manticore. However, the big problem there is the lack of armor, which comes from the 100 champions, allowing the Horsemen and Horsemasters to just eviscerate Kolek's HP right now. And I think he's about to get hit as well by a Final Transmutation, catching not only him, but the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and the Mirror Guard as well. It did cost one Manticore going down, the other one is Rampage, and Wolfric the Wanderer is nearly dead, but Kolek is just on his dying breath already, kind of already on life support, which isn't good news for him. Chaos Warriors and Halberds are going to push forward, looking to support with the Mirror Guard. Feral Manticore is rampaging out of this world, likewise is the Feral Mammoth there. Chaos Warriors are tussling with the Marauders of Great Weapons, which is actually okay for Marauders of Great Weapons. I don't know if they actually win it, but they get way more value because of those Great Weapons, of course. Burning Head does come down the line, but some nice last-second repositioning there by Falcon keeps the majority of the force on the left-hand side. So they should be able to chew their way through the Chaos Warriors. All the Horsemasters and Horsemen do rotate up and around and do some real lovely damage to the Chosen. Kolek is an absolute freaking bounce though today. He's taking so much damage from that Hunter Champion and all the Skirmish Cav combo. He's still beating down a Manticore, beating down Wolfric, beating down this Feral Mammoth. But he's looking like he's on death's door right now. Cascade and Firecloak desperately trying to keep him alive with a fiery cloak around him. Wolfric the Wanderer's looking really beat up. Mirror Guard might be able to chew through him if Falcon's not careful. Shaman Sorcerer does drive in as well. Feral Mammoth, unfortunately, has been forced back. A lot of the infantry fights have really gone Norskan's way, despite the more elite troops from the Warriors of Chaos, due to the mass skirmish cavalry. Kolek Suneater down to 880 HP is a little bit rough, and the Horsemen have plenty of ammo left. Feral Manticore flying high above the skies. We have 2 of them back now, and the Feral Mammoth as well. Wolfric the Wanderer is simply going to fall back and retreat as Kolek does move up to spend the day with his homies. Early javelins do come in, hitting Kolek in the rear, doing some nice damage there. Chaos Warriors are going to push forward. Mirror Guard and Halberd just going to form a little last-ditch, last stand in the centre of the battlefield. Unfortunately for this Chaos Sorcerer of Fire, he has been caught here by the Ferromanticore. Cascading Fire Cloak goes down on Kolek. He might want to come over here and save his buddy. Demon Spew, Chaos Warriors, as well as whatever other unit is hidden in here. I believe some Chosen are carving their way through the Great Weapons relatively successfully, who are currently got their blood pumped up and boiling with that rage mechanic, so their leadership is currently being buffed up. Wolfred being alive this late in the game is quite good. He does have Sea Fang, dropping it down this part of the battlefield would be really nice to see. And Kolek, unfortunately, is falling to kind of the bane of the majority of single entities, and that is Kite. He does pop Star Crusher down, but down just 70 HP. He is probably going to crumble right now and bite the bullet. 4 HP. He does his traditional, over-the-dramatic kind of GCSE drama dive there to his doom. And I don't know if there's any way back in this. Balance Power isn't out of it just yet. Hunter Champions does hit the Chaos Sorcerer though, allowing the Ferromanticores to rip his head off. And they certainly do that rather effectively, and he knows it, so he's legging it, trying to save himself. We still have some Chaos Warriors alive, but everywhere else, the Forces of Chaos are being kind of pushed out to the wind and scattered right now. The Horsemen have used up all their ammunition, but I don't see a way back in this for Team CB and the Warriors of Chaos. I think Falcon is simply too strong right now. The Horsemen just going to be used in melee probably to chase off these units, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Ferromanticore rampages into the Chaos Warriors, which would have been a decent fight already, but the fact they're so low HP and their leader's dead, they just get terrified away and start running and screaming for their lives. To think I was buffing these guys up earlier in the stream and saying they were pretty rock and roll, look at them flee before a giant oversized bat. Mora's chasing off Chaos Warriors here, and yeah, this is game, I'm afraid. We still have 58 Chosen. I'm sure we'll make a valiant last stand. And ammunition is starting to wane, so maybe those Chosen now. There's a Mammoth here. Wolfrick's got the boat as well, which is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to fast forward for this bit, as it's just, yeah, chasing off routing troops, shattering everything, and basically a full health unit of Chosen just decides to give up and run away. Let's go CB, kill the shutout. They still have 2 opportunities to do such a thing, but the XMT have been pretty scary so far. Throne axes are so good, 100% agree. 100% agree. So, Mr. Falcon, representing the Norscan boys proud, which I love to see. Wolfred the Wanderer, 1.8k damage value. Really nice use of him. I like him quite a bit on his chariot. I think it gives him... people are going to open their eyes to chariot lords, of course, in the last couple of patches in recent metas. So, plopping Wolfred on a chariot really can bring him some good work. 121 kills is no joke. The Shaman of Metal, I only saw one final transmutation, but it was such a good one on Kolek in the early rounds of the battle. 520 damage value on him. Chaos Marauders across the board didn't do too much, unfortunately. Neither did the Great Weapons. And the Cav Core was pretty crucial. 490 damage value, 400, 500, 470, 600, and 1000 damage value. It all starts to add up. Ferromanticore's got just shy of 1000 damage and 820 on the other one. Ferromantic did pretty good, 946 damage value, a very good feral creature in Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer. As for Pandasma, I think he put up a really good fight. Kolek Sun-Eater, despite losing like 3/4 of his health in the early game, still clawed back 1.7k damage value, which is pretty impressive stuff. Chaos Sorcerer of Fire, 248 damage value, not so much on him. And the Chaos Warriors across the board performed okay. The Halberds were the best, 780. And 869 damage value. Mirror Guard and Demon Spew kind of just got dragged down. 700 damage value on the Demon Spew's okay. And the Chosen, oh, that's not good reading. 270 damage value, 669 and 460. Not what you expect from the best of the best and the elite of the Forces of Chaos. Now, up next, guys, we have the battle I've been waiting all stream for. I'm so excited for this. But before we hop into that, let's update the scoreboard. We have... the man, the myth, the Lizard Man legend, royalty in the halls of the old ones, Halanali, taking on one of the best vampire count players in the game, Mr. Lunacy. Lunacy is going to be going at Beastmen, and Halanali shall be going Lizardmen. It's going to be a fun one. Hey Duck, what matchups would the Beastman, Malagor the Dark Omen, the Crowfather be best at or good at? Malagor's actually really good Eldrin of the Mist. He's just currently overshadowed by Taurox. Malagor the Dark Omen, I personally like him up against Lizardmen, although I can certainly see why people need Taurox there. Any matchup where the opponent lacks fast air pressure or a load of anti-air, he's good in, basically. Basically, anything without Tempest Managor is pretty solid. For the most part. At least I would say. So Halinali, known for his Lizardmen kite, one of the first players. Lizardmen like kite all the time now, and it's really common, and people are kind of bored of it. But back in the day, no one used to kite Lizardmen. No one. Everyone used to just blob with them, or single entity monster kind of spam them. Halinali was like the OG. Like, he defined his own meta then. And yeah, I'm a massive fan if you couldn't tell already. Lunacy as well. Like, his vampire count play is insane, but he's been bringing the Beastmen today, so I don't think they're his favorite faction, but who knows? Who knows? Let's hop in here and check out the builds. Interested to see actually how this matchup plays now between Beastmen and Lizardmen, now that Tuskor Chariots have been taken down a peg or two, because I really do believe Tuskor Chariots were MVPs this matchup by far, but now because they've been nerfed, there's quite a lot of counters to them. Yes, Beastmen streams Torx, oh hell yeah. Thanks, Duck, for the reply. No worries, Elgin of the Mist, always happy to help, buddy. Glad to have you here as always. So, for the Force of Dino Boys, we have Triple Terran Riders up in the skies. Can be risky because of Harpy pressure, but he does have some skink skirmishers down on the ground to help support that. And we have the Doomslayer. We have Oxyotl himself coming in with Master Predator. Oh my god, sorry, my voice keeps dying now. I can tell I'm still like, I thought I was kind of like fully recovered from the cold, but it still lingers on, I'm afraid. We have Saurus Spears and Saurus Warriors dotted all the way along. Going very wide with Saurus can be pretty useful. Calder Sotek is just behind them. We have a Ferrobastiladon and Ferrostegodon. I am personally a way bigger fan of the Ferrostegodon than I am the Bastiladon, but, you know, having two is pretty good. Let's give a little neck scratch to the Stegodon. Boop, 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 boop. Little tummy rub to the Ferrobastiladon. There we go. Up in the skies, we have the glorious beast of 1,000 ducks, the Coatl, in the sky, looking regal and duck-like as always. Give him a little long neck scratch. Coming in, of course, with his bound abilities of Lesser Chain Lightning and Urion's Thunderbolt. He'll be hiding a lot of these units. With a Skink Priest of Beast with Flock of Doom and Manticore Summon, I actually really like this build. It's not what I was expecting. For the forces of Lunacy and the Beastmen, we have Ungor Spear Herds and Ungor Herds and Gore Herds dotted all the way along, looking very ferocious. Will do okay against Saurus Warriors, but more designed to kill skinks. It's a bit of a rush build, because maybe he knows Halinali does like to pull back and kind of pull his opponents apart from different places. We have Centaurs, we have Razorgore Herds, we have Thronax Core as well, which is always quite key. We have triple Thronaxes, double Centaurs on the far side. Is it just one unit of Harpies? They're going to struggle against the Pterodons. We have a Brave Shaman of Wild down the ground with Traitorkin and Brave Scream, and leading the army, Torx, you're going to be happy, bud. You're going to be very happy. We have a Gorbel, the lesser cousin of Torx, the Brass Bull. He was victorious in his last game. We're going to have to see if he can pull it back again. So one of the Thronaxes is the Regiment of Renown. Last little sip of our drink. And let's get this battle underway. Lizardmen, or Beastmen, sorry, going to have to get very aggressive here. Don't worry about your voice, just grind them stones. Oh man, it's rough. It's rough for sure. But this is the second to last game. So, Oxyotl, up to 6 kills already. Unfortunately, only on Ungor Herds. He's going to want to start to snipe down and work on the Gorbel and Torx Brass Bull as swiftly as possible. Terran Riders are just flying high in the skies right now, so Lizardmen start to position as much as possible on this high ground and rotate round. And you can see they're actually forcing the Beastmen down onto the low ground. And this aggressive play with the Saurus on the left and moving his army up and over. Good to see. The Coatl in the skies is quite a nice pick. It can struggle up against double Manticore, for example, but it will really help protect the Pterodons up against units like Harpies, and there's quite a nice support character all round. He's going to be diving down onto the Ungor Herds, looking to try to drag them to pieces before escaping up into the sky once again. Pterodons are suffering in the sky against the Harpies, so they should be able to kite back against them relatively effectively. Master Predator has been popped on Oxyotl, looking to rain some shots in, probably at the Centaurs right now, trying to force them back and off the field. Saurus Spears do push forward, likewise do the Saurus Warriors and the Ferrostegodon and the Ferrobastiladon. Going to this middle fight, just trying to break down the enemy troops. We do get a big fat Flock of Doom go down on the Ungor Herds. Looks like it caught some of the Centaurs as well. Doing some okay damage, but nothing too crazy. We are going to have a Orion's Thunderbolt come down. It is going to burst some Gore Herd brains and explode in thunderous fury there. Unfortunately, the cohort do get hit by Traitorkin, likewise does the Ferrobastiladon and Saurus Warriors, but the Ferrostegodon is absolutely fine. Oxyotl is legging it right now, and Torx bonks that Ferrostegodon on the head, does some nice damage and actually rampages it. He is taking on 2 dinos right now, but his Gorbel ally does start to move in. We have some Cold Sotek nearby and Saurus Warriors, and perhaps a Ferroman score will be able to aid and support where possible, as Oxyotl is kind of getting driven away from the main fight. He will also be shooting into Torx right now, so the Manticore does land on Torx, but rather wisely, Lunacy actually pops Brass Body just in time, and he's now tanking all of this damage, but there are Saurus Spears on the approach. Saurus are starting to grind down Ungor herds rather effectively. Razorgors are trying their little heart out here. Pterodons are being kited by the unit of Harpies, but the other 2 Pterodons are completely free to fire right now, doing some pretty decent work, and the Coatl is bouncing around, finishing off Centaurs and being a real pain in the butt. For some reason, Torx pulled out of this fight, I guess to get away from the Ferromanticore. The Stegodon has been rallied as well. Lovely use of thrown axes in its rear, though, will be able to pin it down. You can see a cold-blooded is popped. Oxyotl actually gets found out. Torx didn't know he was here, but he was going after the Skink Priest, and Torx needs to be careful. One-on-one, Oxyotl actually wins, because Torx cannot catch him with the poison. Skink Skirmish is also going to rain down some fire. Saurus or Spears are starting to retreat backwards. Chain Lightning attempts to hit the Razorgore herds, but unfortunately misses them a little bit. Killed of Sotek are dragging down at the Centaurs with thrown axes now, as those guys do get forced back, and the Pterodons just been a pain in the butt, just javelin after javelin, blow dart after blow dart, started to focus down the Centaurs and get rid of them. He knows the infantry is not really too much of a problem, because Saurus Warriors are far more elite than Gors and Ungors, and yeah, that fight will go well for him. Ferromanticore does eventually fall. Gorbel is down to about half health, likewise is Torx the Brass Bull, and that Ferrobastodon has tanked quite a bit. Likewise the Stegodon. Been very impressed, up to 700 damage value on that bad boy. The Coatl is going after the Brayshaw, not a bad little mage assassin actually. The Coatl is really good at taking down lightly armored heroes and lords. Oxyotl is being forced back right now. He's supporting Skink Skirmishers, however, and I don't know if the Centaurs are going to be able to catch this. They do put on the burners there a little bit and charge in. They should be able to overwhelm the Skink Skirmishers, you would hope. Oxyotl is once again free to come back to the fight, and he is aiming at Torx the Brass Bull at every given opportunity. Unfortunately, Chain Lightning is going to hit these Saurus Warriors, or a Lightning Bolt, I should say. Unfortunately, can force their own models, but hey, it's all part of the great plan. It's going to inspire this troop to fight even harder, apparently. Big, fat, juicy Trader King goes down, catches the Ferrobastodon, the Gorbel, Saurus Warriors, double Saurus Warriors, and maybe even the Coatl as well. And there's some lovely damage coming in from the Brave Shaman of Wild. However, Oxyotl is nearby, and he's going to start to poke down the Brave Shaman, looking to finish them off. Things are looking a little bleak right now for the Lizardmen. Skink Skirmishers are managing to rally on this flank, actually beat back the Centaurs. There's a lot more Beastmen left on the field, though, including a load of throwing axes. The Coatl is very healthy, and a lovely Flock of Doom does come in. Torx is starting to get pretty danger low, so is the Gorbel. Oxyotl might be able to carry this in the late game. If he remains hidden away from the Centaurs, he can easily kill all 3 of these characters in a matter of shots. The Coatl is taking quite a pounding from Torx at the moment. Maybe wants to retreat and do a bit of cycle charging. Skink Priest has been forced back, the Ferrobastodon's been forced off, the Ferrostegodon's been forced off, and a lot of the Saurus Warriors do start to break, but luckily there for Halinali, he has 56 Saurus Spears coming back into the fray, looking to scrap and fight. We have some Pterodons returning, and the other unit's just being kited by Harpies, but honestly I don't think the Lizardmen will mind that too much. Oxyotl, unfortunately, is surrounded right now, and he's an okay melee combatant, but he is very squishy at the end of the day, and Centaurs of Thrown Axes have surrounded him. These Skink Skirmishers need to come over and support a little bit, but they may get trodden under hoof of the Centaurs. Balance power is still dead even, because this giant duck in the sky is still 2,100 HP, which is no joke, and the Pterodons with ammo have come back to start poking down Torx, and this leadership core is so weak right now. 780 HP, 1.3 on Torx, so it looks like he's the healthiest, and the Gorbel's on 878. It looks like the Skink Skirmishers did activate and start shooting into the Centaurs with thrown axes, just saving Oxyotl in time. My god, that was clutch. He is very near death, and the Coatl comes over to help out. The Skink Skirmishers, though, may pay for their sacrifice to save Oxyotl by getting run down by these other Centaurs. Coatl is still nearby. We have a nice little core of Saurus pushing forwards. Pterodons continue to focus down key targets like the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run. And Torx the Brass Bull and the Gorbel just need to stay as far away from Oxyotl as physically possible, because he's going to be a little bit naughty, raining shots in and causing quite a few problems. The Quartel's been used in the back line in conjunction with the Skink Skirmishers just to clear up the Centigals who can apply pressure to Oxyotl. Look, the Centigals try to dive in on him, and straight away Hanali responds with the Giant Duck, forcing them back. Oxyotl down to 677 HP though. If Torx can get to grips with him, it is a GG's and game over, but it's still a very close game. Balance power is in favour of Lunacy and the Beastmen. Quatl is doing some decent work. Over here you can see Torox is 36 kills, not looking too healthy either. Gorbel is very low. It's a close game. It's a close game. It's kind of hard to tell. Can the Quatl break a lot of these forces and buy time for Oxyotl to use his ammo? He has plenty of ammo left, but he needs to use those shots and assassinate targets, and he's going after that Gorbel. He does scaling damage, so the weaker the foe is, the more punch his shots have, and that's a perfect situation for him right now. Pterodons start to lend their kind of range prowess, I should say, to help Oxyotl here in dragging down the Gorbel, who's down to 420 HP, 130. He's looking very weakened right now. Harpies are forced off, again, due to this unit of Skink Skirmishers. This unit is MVP for sure. It's just been such a good utility unit all round. Harpies are now being chased off by the Pterodon Riders, and the Quatl is going to look in to jump this Brave Shaman, who finds himself a little bit out of position. Torx Brass Ball is running over to help support, but the Quatl is just simply going to serpentine up in the sky and float along the battlefield, at least for now. Pterodon Riders are being used to clear up a lot of troops. Skink Skirmishers shall finish off the Razorgore herds, and the longer the game goes on, the better for the Lizardmen. Oxyotl can start to rack up that damage value, and I believe he's now going to be aiming at Torox the Brass Bull. Might be better to get the Brave Shaman off the field early, just so there is no late trade-kins when that final fight does indeed happen. The Ungors are currently hiding in the tree, so a lot of just hiding right now from the force of the Beastmen. Centigals are floating around on the outside, included in the throwing axes. Oxyotl, up to 59 kills right now, is continuing to pepper down Torox, who's starting to get a little bit danger low. In fact, yeah, he's even started to waver. Pterodons may even try to go for a little dive. They actually do a rock drop, and a load of the Beastmen forces are starting to waver and break, despite balance power being relatively even. Centigals being forced off by Skink Skirmishers, Saurus Warriors, Pterodons, Quatls, everything to protect Oxyotl, and Oxyotl will simply snipe out all of these characters rather happily, and more shots going to Torx the Brass Bull, who decides, you know what, I've had enough of this little skink, I'm going to run away and flee for my life. That was insane. That was a very good game. That lived up to the hype. I've been hyping up this game the whole time just to see this Lizardmen performance, and it did not disappoint. Lunacy looked to be in a real dominant position, but due to some beautiful play with this unit of Skink Skirmishers combined with some Pterodons and Oxyotl and the Quatl, the Lizardmen managed to bring this one back. Pretty wild stuff. What do you guys think of that one? That was some pretty damn elite Lizardmen play. I love to see it. Oxyotl, 1.5k damage value, and the majority of his value came in the later stages of the game, and that's when Oxyotl can really shine with that scaling damage. So good boy Skink there, he did some good work. Skink Priest, one Flock of Doom, I think he got one Manticore Summon, but unfortunately then was sniped. Saurus were really good in this matchup. 1.3 damage value on Saurus Spears is pretty impressive stuff. Across the board it was a little bit more average from the lads. 1,000 damage value of the Co-op Sotek though, one of the best Regiment Renown units in the game. 653 damage value from the Skink Skirmishers, but they brought way more to the battlefield than just that. Impressive Pterodon play as well, keeping all those boys alive against the Harpies, and also getting on top of some pretty good key targets. The Feral Beasties performed pretty solid. I mean, the Stegnon got just shy of 900 value, 550 on the Bastiladon. They held back Torox a lot longer than I thought they would, and the Giant Duck in the Sky, 920 damage value. Torx Brass Bull, 1.5k damage dealt, 1,000 on the Gorbel. They performed pretty good together. Brave Shaman, 1,000 damage value. The Centigals are good, 1.1k value, 863, 722 damage value for the last unit of Throne Axes there. Across the board, the rest of the army didn't do anything too crazy, to be honest. Okay to the Harpies, but in the end, just got kited. Cat Morgan, don't worry, man. We have one more game to go. Always happy to see you here, bro. I'm dying. My voice is dying so bad. It's been a good stream, though. It's been a fun stream. I do recommend going back and checking out all the games. My voice is kind of dipping in and out, unfortunately, a little bit. But we're back. I'm happy to be back doing live streams. It's been like a week and a half since we got to do one last. And I'm hopefully, if my voice isn't too bad tomorrow, we will also do yet another Clan War tomorrow at a roughly similar time, either 5:30 PM BST or 6 PM, roughly around that time. Yeah, should be some good stuff. This is going to be the last game, so feel free to like and subscribe and all that standard YouTubey stuff if you haven't already. And let's update the scoreboard quickly. Boop, up to 14. Man, XMT, so close to a lockout tonight. So close to a lockout. You guys reckon they can do it? It is a Skaven mirror match to close us out. And it is Hadri's, one of the best Skaven players in the game. Hadri's used to be a incredibly good Skaven player. Despite when Skaven were bad. Now Skaven are pretty solid. He's amazing. Up against Hydra Dominatus' Skaven. Yeah, Josh. I didn't know Tom was streaming today. I'm not going to lie. It didn't pop up on my phone. That's weird. Oh, he's not started yet. He's starting in like 5 minutes or so. We've got one more game to go. I'll make sure to send you guys over there so you can enjoy the carnage as well. So, boo 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 boo. Let's hop in and enjoy this last game. And these builds are very different. Very different. Looks like Hydra Dominatus going for a rush style of approach. Hadri is going far more defensive. Thank you so much, Cat Morgan, with the coming in with the donation there. Ducky needs his bread to restore his voice. BBC read for the duck gods. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, Morgan. Honestly, my voice is dead. This I might have been a bit too optimistic with live streaming today, but I really want to get back. Thank you so much, man. Cat Morgan, for those who don't know, is the god of all ducks. He is my biggest supporter of my channel, and is one of the reasons I'm able to do so many live streams and videos and stuff for you guys. He's a true champ, and hopefully we can repay that with some awesome games. So for the forces of Hadri's here, we have a load of Skaven slaves, and basically that's just it. Skaven slaves across the front line, so real cheap and cheerful. We have some Poison Wind Globadiers, and they're backed up by an insane number of Rat Ogres. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Rat Ogres, I believe. That's such a good counter initiation unit. You wait for the enemy to pounce, and then you counter punch back. We also do have some Wolf Rats. We have a Plague Claw Catapult, and 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Warlock Giselles. Now that's a lot to protect, but if anyone can do it, it's certainly Hadri's, particularly with the Grey Seer of Plague, who can come in and do some nice summons. He can summon Clan Rats, and he can summon Storm Vermin as well to help support this back line. Relatively defensive, but going to be a good fun. For the forces of his opponent here, Dominatus comes in with a much more aggressive build. We have Wolf Rats on his left-hand side, as well as double Rat Ogres supported by Frot the Unclean, who obviously can roll really well with them. We have Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats, so a bit more of a bit more hardcore front line, including Clan Vulcan Tail Slushers, the Beric Dundarians of the Skaven Realms. And on the far side, we have a load more Wolf Rats, a load more Rat Ogres, a couple of units in reserve of, I believe, just Skaven Slaves. And we have a Packmaster and an Eshin Sorcerer. Oh, hell yeah, we get an Eshin Sorcerer in here? Man, Eshin Sorcerers are really underrated. He's going to be coming in with Brittle Bones as well as Warp Stars. Should be good fun. If he overcasts Brittle Bones in a big Rat Ogre blob against Rat Ogres, it could indeed go pretty damn good for him. That could be interpreted pretty badly, yes. It was supposed to say bread. 69 viewers. Nice. Loopy knows, man. He's like, oh, the BBC for the Duck Gods. I'm going to pretend like that means, you know, the British Broadcasting, whatever it is. And we'll leave it at that. So the Rat Ogres do charge in, get some good initial shock damage on the Wolf Rats, though take a load of damage in return. That was a really bad trade in the end there for Hadri's. Was made due to the presence of Frot the Unclean. Like, he broke off a unit of Wolf Rats, but in turn almost completely lost a unit of Rat Ogres. Warlock Giselles are just lighting up Frot the Unclean right now, doing some massive damage to him. And on the left-hand side, we can see his Rat Ogres are having to counter-punch the enemy where possible, but they're being overwhelmed. Packmaster is ripping and tearing at the Rat Ogres with support of the Wolf Rats. You have the Shock Collar on them, increasing their melee attack to 52, which is very, very nice. And it's going to allow them to chew and bite their way through the Rat Ogres, who are a pretty squishy unit for the most part. Good early presence on the flanks from the CB player here today, trying to fight for the honour of his clan here and bring this back a little bit. Brittle Bones is popped on the Rat Ogres. We have the Pitfires of Hell's Deep going up against them, who should be able to overwhelm them quite easily. And it looks like the aggressive Skaven have won all of the Rat Ogre fights early on, and should be able to drive back into the Warlock Giselles. Has Hadri's bought himself enough time to whittle down all these units from range. Frot the Unclean is certainly taking a pounding, but he does have regeneration, and is going to be able to flee back. His allies have really dominated this left-hand flank here, and he's just going to be falling back out of gun range, which is probably the best way to do this in my humble duck opinion. Skaven Slaves are holding back the clan of Vulcan Tail Slashers, who are up to nearly 100 kills already. This is a slaughterfest. This is madness. Oh my god. This is, look at this, rat-on-rat violence. You hate to see it, and at the same time, you love to see it. The Skaven Slaves are being all broken though. Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers will be able to force their way back now. Poison Globadiers being shut down by Frot the Unclean, who's been super aggressive. Hadri still has some Rat Ogres left, and he's bringing them over to try to save the Warlock Giselles. But as soon as the Giselles are starting to run, they're just surrounded. Frot the Unclean's attacking from one side, Rat Ogres on the left, a load of Rat Ogres as well as Clan Rats attack from the right, and even the Packmaster is amongst them now. And this has gone, I think, really well right now for the more aggressive style of play. We do have that Summon Storm Vermin who got 29 kills, and they are starting to run a little bit out of steam. The Warlock Giselles are getting some shots off, and you can see the Packmaster is getting relatively low. There's a load of summons in the bag, the Grey Seer is still full health, and so are the Poison Wind Globadiers, who do manage to beat back some Skaven Slaves, though the Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers will be able to shut them down. We do have a summon of Rat Ogres. Bounce power is very even right now. One unit of Warlock Giselles is well and truly gone. Some others are starting to rout, though there are some Wolf Rats nearby to support and maybe save them. More Warlock Giselles are now being pushed back. Still a close game, but bounce power is starting to favour CB right now. With a little Scorch coming in, I think. Oh, unfortunately, just a little bit too early there. Or it would have been perfect, but these units did unfortunately stop in their tracks there. The Grey Seer is doing okay. The Eshin Sorcerer, I think, has been doing Warp Stars all day. Only 233 damage value, maybe not. Maybe it was just those Brittle Bone usages. Poison Wind Globadiers are on the run. Unfortunately, there's a Sorcerer blocking their escape. Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers up to 174 kills, having such a good time today. We do have some Wolf Rats of Hadri's return, and likewise his Plague Claw Catapult crew has returned. And there are some Warlock Giselles who weren't forced off for good, raining shots down at Frot the Unclean, who is full health at the moment, and it looks like CB are going to be able to get a score on the board right now. The Grey Seer of Plague is pushing back Clan Rats, and Poison Globadiers have been finished off. I don't think there's any hope left. The Packmaster is starting to heal up, the Pitfires of Hell's Deep are full health, and the Frot the Unclean is doing an absolute Chad job, and CB with the final stroke of this clan war do get themselves on the scoreboard. Well played, lads, for not giving up for one. And Hadri Dominatus, you played a really top game there. Likewise to Hadri's, I actually like his build quite a bit, and I think it would counter a huge portion of Skaven builds. But Hadri Dominatus, he took that risk, went full rush, and it paid off. Warlock Giselles, you know, not that much damage value across the board. It was okay, like 420 damage value, 850, 1,300. Poison Globadiers only 420 damage value, but the rest of the build just got slapped. The Rat Ogres just got butchered. Look at this, such terrible damage value across the board. Wolf Rats tried to support them where possible, but unfortunately for them, due to the presence of Frot and the Packmaster, they got overwhelmed really quickly, and the Grey Seer Plague only 344 damage value. Frot the Unclean 550. 375 and 438 from the Packmaster. Their support was really well used though, and Frot the Unclean absorbed so much of that early pressure and damage, it allowed the Rat Ogres to really shine. The Clan Rats cross board didn't do too much. Clan Vulcan Tail Slashers though, so funny, over 200 kills and only just 439 damage value. That's pretty hilarious stuff. Wolf Rats did okay, you know, solid across the board. Rat Ogres 870, 840. 1,700 damage value on the Pitfires of Hell's Deep. They were some true champs today. Let's update the scoreboard quickly for you guys. And pop that over to CB. Boop. That is up to 1. And it's going to be a 14-1 victory there for Extreme Meme Team. We will hopefully be back tomorrow with Extreme Meme Team, team number 2 versus EC. So those are two guys who lost their first Clan War games. So it's very, very crucial that they win their second one. It's a kind of must-win for those guys. So it should be pretty exciting stuff. Probably back around a similar time tomorrow. Fingers crossed if my voice doesn't completely give out on us. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It was pretty damn awesome. Before you guys go, let's go raid Mr. Turin. I think he is started stream. He has indeed. So make sure to go over here and just yell quack over and over again. Spread the love. Let him know I sent you. And I will go join you. I'm probably going to cook some food. So I might not chill out for too long. But yeah, feel free to go over and watch. I should be there at least for a little while. Hope you guys enjoyed, as always. It's amazing to be back. It's been really good fun to be back. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed, leave a thumbs up. All the good standard stuff. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome. Moo, Torx.